Meet our guy Jay. He is the textbook definition of a perfect student. He pulls flawless grades and runs the show as the student body president. But after getting roped into joining the school's cycling team, the Hummingbird crew, his eyes are open to a wild new world far beyond his desk. What kind of crazy rides await him once he drops the books? Let us dive right in. The story kicks off with Jay giving his folks the usual excuse, telling them he is heading to the library. Slipping on his riding gloves, he mounts his bike. Then he hits the streets. Nearby, a couple of guys are debating whether to hit up the internet cafe, but one of them shuts the idea down. Suddenly, whoosh, Jay blasts right past them like an absolute blur. Left in the dust, they stand there stunned, wondering if that was actually a bicycle. Meanwhile, Jay locks his eyes on the road and spots a blocked construction zone dead ahead. Without missing a beat, he launches his bike over the drop with pure swagger. Further down, some couples are enjoying a sweet moment on the stairs. Jay totally crashes their romantic vibe, zooming just inches away from them. He glides effortlessly, soaking in the warm evening breeze. Cut to a completely different crowd geeking out over a sweet new ride. The guys are totally baffled about how a high school kid scored a premium full carbon frame. Plus, the thing looks like an absolute beast. The proud owner, TJ Kim, brags that his beauty is simply unmatched. His buddies practically beg for a quick spin, but he quickly shuts them down, telling them to stick to their own trash. Just then, Minu steps up and asks why he dropped cash on a new bike when he already owned one. Before he can answer, TJ spots someone lining up at the top of a massive drop. The crowd immediately starts buzzing, calling the guy completely insane. Bombing a steep hill on that kind of bike. Is he literally asking to get wiped out? Up top, Jay flips up his hood and stares down the massive concrete slope. He cranks the pedals hard. Flashbacks flood his mind, his parents demanding perfection. Their endless nagging about his slipping grades and his classmates whispering behind his back, joking that textbooks were his only real friends. Jay silences all that noise, rocketing down the hill at breakneck speed. Hitting the bottom, he violently yanks his handlebars for a sharp turn. His tires scream against the pavement as he takes a breather. The onlookers are absolutely speechless. They cannot believe he just bombed that entire hill without hitting the brakes even once. How do you pull a stunt like that at top speed? TJ scoffs, calling him a cheap show-off riding a rusted piece of junk. But Minu is genuinely impressed, praising his flawless skid. June squints and points out that the mystery rider Minu flashes a smirk. Wait, he goes to our school. Usually Minu could not care less about anyone in class. But now he decides he is definitely going to say hello if they cross paths tomorrow. Fast forward to the next morning at Sunny High School. The classroom is buzzing with kids chatting about watching Breaking Bad on TV. Meanwhile, our guy Jay is completely locked in, studying like a machine. Nearby, a girl sitting next to him is caught totally staring. Her friend Yuna swings an arm around her shoulder, teasingly asking what has her so distracted. She asks if she is actually prepping for the big exams coming up. Mia brushes it off, saying she is just studying a little bit here and there. Yuna warns her to step up her game, then leans in to ask if Jay is treating her right. Mia nods, saying he does. But Yuna frowns. To her, it looks more like he is giving her a seriously hard time. People seriously wonder if the guy does anything besides breathing textbooks. Try striking up a conversation. Prepare to be completely ignored. But sweet Mia is quick to jump to Jay's defense. She insists he's just terrible at expressing his feelings. Deep down, he's actually a super genuine and reliable guy. Out of nowhere, Mino struts right into their classroom. A few girls instantly perk up, asking if he dropped by just to see them. Yuna rolls her eyes, wondering what this massive dork is doing here. He's just getting everyone's hopes up for absolutely nothing. Mino shoots back that he definitely isn't here for her so she can kindly take a hike. He smirks, warning her not to ruin his mood this early in the morning. That instantly strikes a nerve. Yuna snaps, daring him to step right up. Mia desperately tries to play peacekeeper, begging her not to start a full-blown brawl with her own brother. Meanwhile, a guy named Dom is chilling right behind them. Watching the chaos, he can't help but think Yuna looks ridiculously cute when she's furious. Deciding she isn't worth the headache, Mino brushes her off to focus. He marches straight over to Jay's desk and formally introduces himself. Jay's reaction, absolute zero. He couldn't care less, immediately flipping back to his textbook. Without even looking up, he bluntly tells Mino to get lost because he's busy. But Mino isn't taking no for an answer. Because if he is, he wants him to join their riding crew. Mino brings up that insane downhill drift Jay pulled off just yesterday. He hypes it up, calling the whole stunt completely mind-blowing. Their entire squad was left utterly speechless, watching him tear down that steep slope. Nobody had a clue they had a hidden prodigy roaming their halls. And the wildest part, the mystery rider turned out to be their straight A-class president. Flashing a huge grin, he offers Jay an exclusive spot on their team, welcoming him with open arms. Crickets. Jay completely tunes him out, keeping his eyes glued to his notes. Mino groans, asking if the guy could at least fake an ounce of interest. Watching from afar, Yuna is beyond baffled. When on earth did her brother get so chummy with the class president? Mia is standing there wondering the exact same thing. Jay finally speaks up coldly, telling Mino to stop ruining his study time. He flat out says that if the little pitch is over, Mino needs to get out of his face. Annoyed, Mino turns to leave, sarcastically apologizing for interrupting his precious little study session. Walking away, Mino grumbles to himself about how much this dude really gets under his skin. But as Jay stares at his book, Mino's words echo in his mind. A nostalgic memory flashes back: his uncle, handing him a brand new bike for his 13th birthday. He remembers his uncle's warm advice. Sure, hitting the books matters, but he needed to step outside and actually live a little. His uncle promised that once Jay got the hang of it, they'd hit the road for an epic biking trip together. Fast forward, the final school bell rings, and students flood out to head home. Yuna lets out a massive stretch after a grueling day. Ever the optimist, Mia gently cheers her on, reminding her that they just need to push through these exams one last time. Yuna sighs dramatically. She grew up thinking her teenage years would be this magical romantic adventure. Instead, it's just an endless soul-crushing loop of the exact same boring routine. Mia pats her back, doing her best to soothe Yuna before she spirals into a full-blown existential crisis. Taking a deep breath, Yuna finally absorbs her best friend's comforting words. Still, she can't help but admit that reality is just straight-up depressing. Out of absolutely nowhere, Dom jump scares them from behind. He excitedly pops up, suggesting they all go hit the theaters to watch a new zombie flick together. Bad move. Yuna instantly throws a brutal counterpunch, screaming that he nearly gave them a massive heart attack. As Dom is literally dry heaving from the impact, Yuna glares down at him, fiercely ordering the guy to quit creeping around and stalking her. Taking that hit actually flips a switch in Dom's brain. He's instantly convinced she's the one. He scrambles after them, begging the group to ditch the screen and watch it on a real TV at his place. Yuna, however, isn't having any of it, and bluntly tells him to get lost. Meanwhile, Jay quietly packs up his gear, ready to head out. Before he can escape, Minu blocks the doorway. He needs to talk. He throws out an offer: give real street cycling a shot and ride with their crew. There's a hotshot looking to challenge Jay tonight, and Minnie wants him in the lineup. Jay doesn't even blink. It's a hard pass. He coldly tells Minu to drop it and go play bikes with his little friends. Knowing exactly which buttons to push, Minu casually mentions a guy named TJ. Apparently, TJ was talking major trash, calling Jay's beloved bike a rusted-out. Minu shrugs. He doesn't care if Jay shows up, but he absolutely despises gear snobs who think expensive specs beat raw talent. And he knows Jay has been rocking that classic frame for years. Honestly, Minu just really wants to see the look on TJ's face when a so-called trash bike leaves him in the dust. The crew is linking up tonight at Green Park. The ball is in Jay's court. Fast forward to that night. Green Park is buzzing with local riders throwing down slick BMX stunts. Minu kicks back on a park bench, completely zoned out with his headphones on. Bam! An icy Red Bull presses against his cheek, making him jolt up in shock. It's June laughing and telling him to relax and take a sip. Popping his own, June wonders if Jay is actually going to show his face. They've been hanging around for a good minute now. Minu sighs. All they can do is wait it out. Fair point. June decides that if the new kid bails, they'll just run some practice laps instead. But seriously, June asks, why is Minu suddenly so hyper-fixated on this guy? Minu frantically waves him off, hissing at him to keep his voice down. If anyone overhears that, they're going to get the completely wrong idea. Chuckling, June pushes for the real reason he invited the loner. Minu leans back. The answer is surprisingly simple. He noticed Jay's been riding solo for ages. He just figured bringing him into the crew would spark some genuine fun. Right on cue, TJ rolls up on his flashy rig and immediately starts complaining about the time, demanding to know where this phantom challenger is. Minu coolly tells him to hold his horses. TJ smirks, betting that the dork already chickened out. Minu shoots him a sharp glare. He shouldn't be so cocky. In fact, if TJ is itching for action, why don't they go head-to-head for a warm-up? TJ scoffs, pointing out Minu's injured leg. Can he even pedal like that? But hey, he's never going to turn down a free chance for a rematch. Just then, the crowd parts. Jay silently rolls into the park, catching the eyes of everyone who remembers his crazy stunts from yesterday. Minu immediately jumps to his feet and tells TJ that their carbon bike showdown will have to wait for another day. Trying to act tough, TJ steps forward and extends a hand, running his mouth about how he thought Jay was too scared to show. But Jay, he doesn't even make eye contact. The absolute disrespect boils TJ's blood. Jay pulls up to Minu, who breaks into a huge welcoming grin. Jay cuts straight to the chase. Put him on the starting line, he doesn't have all night. Minu nods, stepping aside to let June lay down the ground rules. June casually introduces himself, mentioning that he's an upperclassman at their high school. Hearing this, Jay's cold demeanor vanishes. He immediately bows at a perfect 90 degrees out of deep respect. Minu's jaw hits the floor. This guy has been nothing but a stone-cold jerk to him all day. June chuckles at the dynamic and starts breaking down tonight's street race. It's a pure one-on-one sprint. First man to cross the finish line takes the crown. The route piece of cake. And Jay definitely knows what he's getting into, considering this track is basically his backyard. To keep things completely fair, the crew has It's all about safety, but more importantly, making sure nobody tries to cheat on this wild route. His opponent for tonight, that nasty-looking punk glaring from across the starting line, TJ. Jay's terms are dead simple. Leave him the hell alone the exact second this race ends. Minu nods to lock in the deal, while June tosses Jay a heavy helmet. Minu instantly notices something crazy. Jay actually ripped the brakes right off his bike just to shave off some weight. When you are racing in the streets, every single microsecond is the difference between winning and eating dirt. The tension spikes as both riders mount up. TJ immediately starts running his mouth, daring Jay to try and keep up with his high-end carbon fiber beast. Annoyed, Minu yells at TJ to drop the massive ego trip and just focus on the damn race. But TJ just scoffs, telling him to zip it. He knows exactly how this night is going to play out. Strapping a camera to his helmet, June announces he'll be catching all the action from the back. One of the crew members steps up holding a metal bike cog, yelling that they kick off. He raises his arm, holding their focus. Clang. The metal hits the asphalt, and both riders explode off the starting line. Trailing closely behind, June analyzes the heat. TJ definitely snatched the early lead entirely thanks to his ultralight frame. But the real bloodbath, that kicks off the moment pure leg power and brutal acceleration take over. A flashy start doesn't guarantee a trophy. June cranks hard on his own pedals, desperately trying not to lose sight of the dueling duo. Cruising out front, TJ glances back, throwing cheap insults at Jay's rusty setup. He laughs, telling the quiet kid to get comfortable staring at his taillights for the rest of the night. Jay doesn't say a word. His legs turn into absolute pistons, pushing insane watts as he rapidly closes the gap. Panic flashes across TJ's face as the shadow inches closer. He grits his teeth, scrambling to squeeze out more speed. Then his eyes lock onto an orange traffic cone up ahead, and a filthy idea sparks in his head. Waiting for the perfect millisecond, he violently swerves and kicks the heavy cone right into the street. It rolls directly into Jay's path like a deadly landmine, catching his attention instantly. Watching from the back, June curses out loud. What the hell is that dirty snake doing? But Jay's reflexes are inhuman. He violently jerks the handlebars, barely dodging the orange trap. He fights the bucking bike back under control, but June's terrified voice echoes out, screaming at him to look up. A massive parked car is sitting dead in the corner, and Jay is flying straight at it like a missile. At the very last second, instead of braking, Jay bunny hops, his front tire straight onto the hood, rides completely over the roof, and launches off the Both June and TJ are left completely speechless, their jaws basically hitting the pavement. Landing smoothly, the silent predator is instantly back on the hunt. June lets out a massive shaky breath, terrified he was about to film a fatal crash. He furiously yells at TJ to cut the dirty tricks. The punk just nervously smirks, spitting a lame excuse. Inside, TJ is sweating bullets. This quiet kid is way more psychotic than he ever imagined. June's heart is still pounding, knowing that TJ's pathetic cheap tactics are literally going to get somebody killed. But man, he can't deny that Jay's insane acrobatics just blew his mind. He honestly cannot process how the guy pulled off a flawless 360 flip in a split-second window of panic. He instantly wishes the rest of the crew was here to witness that absolute madness live. Without skipping a beat, Jay cranks up the gears, catching right back up to TJ's tail. Shooting a deadly glare, he tells the loudmouth to hurry up and get this stupid race over with. After that, Jay drops his posture and unleashes another burst of raw speed. TJ frantically checks his blind spots, wondering if this psycho is just playing twisted mind games with him. Suddenly, a brutal hairpin corner appears dead ahead, yet Jay is actually accelerating straight toward it. TJ screams out, calling him an absolute idiot for blasting into a blind turn. The kid must literally have a death wish tonight. Defying all logic, Jay speeds up even more, slamming his back tire into a screaming drift. He effortlessly glides through the... TJ is left completely paralyzed by the sheer display of skill. Behind them, June is equally mind-blown, watching a bike literally drift on asphalt. Staring at the vanishing rider, June can only wonder, where the hell did this guy learn to ride like a Jay maneuvers that bike like it's literally wired to his DNA. Meanwhile, TJ is sweating bullets just trying to stay in his slipstream. He's absolutely losing his mind. How is he eating dust when he's riding a top-tier carbon frame? Without even breaking a sweat, Jay casually points back at his own rear wheel. He taunts TJ, telling him to get used to staring at his back for the rest of the run. That instantly hits a nerve. TJ pedals like a maniac, but Jay just gives a lazy wave. Let's wrap this up in 4 minutes, he casually drops. I've got studying to do. TJ snaps, screaming at him to wipe that smug attitude off his face. He's so sick and tired of these arrogant Sunny High punks. Pushing his absolute limits, TJ cranks his pedals harder to close the gap. Trailing behind them, June watches with his heart in his throat. At this crazy speed, someone is definitely going to end up in the ER. TJ makes a desperate move to pass, but Jay swerves, blocking him out with absolute precision. Frustrated beyond belief, TJ growls that he's going to crush him on the downhill drop. The road plunges down. Both riders instantly tuck in, letting gravity launch their speed through the roof. June screams out, asking if they've completely lost their minds. He begs them to hit the brakes. Are they blind? There is a solid steel fence sitting right at the dead end. If they don't slow down right now, they're dead meat. But TJ is completely blinded by his ego, pushing his bike even faster. Right at the absolute edge of disaster, Jay rips a flawless high-speed skid. He literally throws his foot out, planting it hard against the chain, and uses the insane rebound momentum to whip his bike into a perfect turn. But TJ panic sets in. His wheels lock up, and he realizes too late that he's coming in way too hot. He grabs a handful of brakes, but it's totally useless. Smash! He violently faceplants. June finally catches up, screaming to see if he's alive. Jay just glances over his shoulder at the wreckage and mutters, "What a loser." Blood is practically pouring down TJ's battered face. June scrambles over, panicking as he checks the damage. But physical pain, TJ doesn't even care. His bruised ego is hurting way more than his bleeding head. Meanwhile, chilling at the park, Minu is just mashing buttons on his console, waiting for the race to wrap up. One of the crew suddenly shouts out, pointing at a figure rolling in from the distance. It's Jay in first place. The whole crew is completely stunned. Did their boy TJ really just lose to the rookie? Minu just chuckles, shaking his head. TJ is all bark and no bite, he smirks. Honestly, he's thrilled the loudmouth finally got put in his place. He always warned him that the rider matters way more than the expensive bike. Jay then rolls to a complete stop right in front of TJ. The crowd is buzzing, dying to see the wild footage on June's camera. Ignoring them, Jay unbuckles his helmet and throws TJ's own pre-race trash talk right back in his face. He casually tosses the borrowed helmet back to him and flips up his hoodie. "Don't ever bother me with this petty street racing garbage at school again," he warns with a cold stare. With that mic drop moment, Jay mounts his bike and starts pedaling home. The rest of the crew just stands there in silence, completely blown away by his sheer badassery. Moments later, June and a beaten-up TJ drag themselves into the park, with June desperately shouting for Minu. Minu's jaw drops seeing TJ's wrecked face, while June frantically yells at someone to grab a first aid kit. The whole gang panics, wondering what the hell went wrong and if they need to call an ambulance. But TJ is practically foaming at the mouth with pure rage, screaming at them to drag Jay back here right now. Cut to Jay, who quietly reaches his front door, carrying his bike over his shoulder. Inside, his older brother Kay crosses his arms, demanding to know where the hell Jay has been. He orders him to quit goofing off in the streets. If he keeps this up, getting accepted into a top-tier university is going to be a complete pipe dream. "It's time to grow up," Kay scolds him. "You aren't a little kid anymore." Suddenly, the TV announces that Kitty and Jay's little brother bolts toward the screen to watch it. He wipes out hard on the doorframe, rolling on the floor in absolute agony. But the second he spots his favorite show playing, all that pain vanishes into pure joy. Leaving the kid glued to the screen, Jay heads out to let him watch in peace. He steps into the bathroom and grabs a hot, refreshing shower. As the water washes over him, his mind races back to the intense events of today's match. He feels a strange, unfamiliar rush of adrenaline coursing through his veins. Fast forward to the next morning, Jay gears up for school and rolls his trusty bike outside. He closely inspects the tires, realizing they took a serious beating from yesterday's chaotic race. Just then, his brother Kay steps out and asks if he is seriously riding that thing to campus again. Jay casually nods and effortlessly hops onto the saddle. Kay rolls his eyes, calling him a total bike freak. As Jay stretches his muscles, Kay mutters that he is burning precious energy for nothing. He lectures that his older brother should be channeling that morning hype into hitting the books instead. Ignoring the nagging, Jay pedals off, tossing a quick "see you later" over his shoulder. Pushing up his glasses, Kay sighs, deeply wondering when his brother is finally going to grow up. But his mature act drops instantly when he spots a tiny stray kitten carrying a snack. His eyes light up with joy. He immediately starts sprinting after the fluffy animal, desperately begging it to come back. Meanwhile, a crowd of morning commuters squeezes onto the transit at the local bus stop. Panting heavily, Mia slides into a seat, relieved she barely made it on time for school. But her relief quickly fades as the vehicle jerks to a complete halt, trapped in a massive gridlock. At that exact moment, Jay is cruising smoothly down the street on his bicycle. Inside the stuffy bus, an annoyed guy groans about the bumper-to-bumper traffic, wishing out loud that he had a scooter to escape this mess. Listening to the chatter, Mia frowns, completely clueless about what everyone is gossiping about. She just cannot figure out what they mean. Suddenly, Jay zooms right past Mia's window, catching her eye as he pedals effortlessly. The passengers watch in sheer disbelief, wondering how a high school kid on a bicycle is beating motorized traffic. One guy even elsewhere, Dom is stuck in the same brutal traffic jam, whining from the back seat of his family car. His dad casually asks if he should just ram the cars in front of them to clear a path. Sweating Dom quickly begs him to chill out and strictly follow the law. Glancing out the window, he spots a student tearing down the road on a bike. His eyes widen with pure excitement, proudly declaring he desperately wants one too. Back with Jay, another cyclist suddenly pulls up right alongside him. Turns out it is the school principal. The older man casually checks in on him, and Jay politely greets his superior. Flashing a wide grin, the principal admits he is thrilled to see his student kicking off the morning with such incredible energy. Curious, Jay asks if the older man pedals to campus often. The principal confidently nods, proudly declaring that a real man should always ride his bike to work. However, his tone shifts as he drops some solid advice, telling Jay to prioritize safety over crazy speeds. He points out that cyclists like them get zero respect on the sidewalks or the main roads, meaning they have to stay sharply aware of their surroundings at all times. He complains that pedestrians these days stubbornly block the designated bike lanes. But shaking it off, he announces that playtime is over, and it is time to shift into high gear. After all, the school principal and the mighty student president absolutely cannot show up late. Cut to the school gates where the strict security guard is busy handing out morning punishments, though a few polite kids still say hello. Out of nowhere, a punk named Lee shreds through the crowd on his skateboard, looking incredibly slick. He dangerously skims right past the grumpy guard, playfully tossing up a peace sign. But his cool moment ends instantly as the massive guard snatches him out of midair, fiercely warning the kid not to test. He questions what on earth is going on with the guy's hair. Like, did somebody dump a whole pitcher of OJ on his head? And where's his backpack? Lee just shrugs it off, admitting he ditched his gear at school because he is totally done with studying. The security guard is already losing his patience when a loud voice cuts through the tension. It's the principal demanding to know why there's so much racket this early in the morning. Instantly kissing up, the guard snaps to attention, claiming he was just strictly enforcing the student dress code. The principal sighs, pointing out that this is a terrible way to kick off the morning. He shoos them off to class, warning them not to drag down the school's reputation. The boys smirk, promising they'll make the campus look cooler than ever. They bolt down the hallway, cheering about sweet freedom. Spotting a group of cute girls walking by, Lee pauses, wondering since when their school had absolute tens. He smoothly slides up, throwing them a hello ladies, and playfully begs to crash their lunch table, playing the lonely guy card. One of the girls giggles, calling him cute, and invites him to join them in the cafeteria. The guard mutters about Lee causing trouble again, but the principal just chuckles, letting the kid enjoy his youth. When reminded about the morning assembly, the principal causally decides he'll just text everyone instead. The guard is absolutely stunned by the laziness. Cut to the classroom, half the room is goofing off while the rest are slowly dying of boredom from the same old daily grind. Suddenly, phones buzz. The principal actually sent out a mass text to kick off the morning assembly. Looking at her screen, Yuna laughs, admitting the principal definitely has a unique style. She glances over and asks Mia what she's zoning out about. Well, as for Mia, she's completely lost in her own little world, daydreaming about getting up close and personal with Jay. Yuna smirks, straight up asking if her bestie has caught feelings for him. Out of nowhere, Dom slides into the scene, flashing Yuna a cheesy smile. Without skipping a beat, she launches a textbook right at his face, calling him a pathetic loser. But in Dom's delusional mind, this is just her quirky way of showing exactly how obsessed she is with him. Meanwhile, Jay is casually strolling down the hall, totally engrossed in a book. He brushes past Mino, who is currently swarmed by a fan club of girls. Mino shouts out, giving him props for his crazy stunt yesterday, mentioning how he absolutely wrecked TJ in that fight. A girl asks Mino how he's buddies with the student president. Mino plays it cool, saying they just happen to run in the same circles. Back in class, the lecturer is putting half the room into a deep coma. Dom is completely knocked out, literally pooling drool all over his open notebook. The second the clock strikes 12:30 p.m., it's a mad dash for lunch. Dom tries to cozy up next to Yuna, only to get a fist straight to the gut. Afternoon classes roll around, and surprise, surprise, Dom is back to snoring. Mia shoots a longing glance at her crush Jay, but violently flinches away, blushing bright red the second they lock eyes. The final bell rings. Kids are already pouring out, hyping each other up to binge-watch Breaking Bad later. Trudging home, Dom scratches his head, completely clueless about literally everything taught today. He spots Jay wheeling his bike and instantly demands to take it for a quick spin. Ice-cold Jay completely ignores his existence and pedals right past him. Flipping him the bird, Dom yells at him to keep acting like an arrogant jerk. but his ears instantly perk up the second he hears Yuna's voice. He eagerly falls into step beside her, dropping a smooth line about how she will always be the Wi-Fi signal to his heart. Yuna aggressively cusses him out, staring at the sky and questioning what awful sins she committed to deserve this torture. Completely unfazed, Dom flexes and asks if his skin is looking extra smooth and radiant today. Deadpan Yuna tells him he's not glowing, he literally just has crusty, dried drool smeared across his face. Dom winks, telling her to stop playing hard to get, joking that the drool is his top-secret skincare routine. Losing her mind, Yuna brutally kicks his shin and screams at him to shut his mouth. Meanwhile, Jay is cruising home until a bump interrupts his ride. His tire is completely flat. He figures he's just burned out from pushing himself too hard during yesterday's race. Suddenly, TJ steps up, mocking him and offering to fix his piece of trash bike. Later, after the bell rings, Dom strolls home, totally floating on cloud 9 from all the attention Yuna showered on him. But man, he can't help wondering, are relationships always this mentally and physically exhausting? Either way, he totally overslept today. Time to stop daydreaming and head straight to work. But on his way, he spots a bunch of thugs cornering Jay in an alleyway, and his playful vibe instantly drops. TJ is absolutely fuming. Losing that race humiliated him, and the massive bump on his forehead kept him awake all night. But honestly, Jay just stares blankly and asks who they even are. That icy response makes TJ snap. He gets right in Jay's face, asking if he thinks he's some kind of untouchable big shot. Bam! TJ violently kicks Jay's bike, sending it crashing to the pavement. He screams that Jay embarrassed him in front of his entire crew with that stunt, and now he has the nerve to just ignore him. Pushed past his limit, Jay suddenly swings, throwing a desperate punch in pure. But let's be real, Jay isn't a fighter. The punch is incredibly weak, barely leaving a tiny scratch on TJ's cheek. TJ's eyes go wide with rage. "You little punk, how dare you hit me?" His goons start laughing, mocking the so-called perfect student president for completely losing his mind. Then they mercilessly jump him. They rain down blows on Jay, taunting him, asking if he's enjoying the beatdown. Crunch. His signature glasses are stomped to pieces as the gang beats him to a pulp. Squatting over him, TJ laughs, wondering how the golden boy is going to show his ruined face at school tomorrow. He grabs Jay, demanding he burn his face into his memory. But bloody and beaten Jay coldly replies that he still has no clue who TJ is or what he wants, so he needs to back the hell off and leave him alone. TJ grins like a maniac. "Oh, is that right? Guess I'll just have to beat your memories back into you." He tightly grips Jay's collar, threatening to start with that smart mouth of his. "Hey, knock it off." Dom finally steps out of the shadows, his voice booming through the alley. TJ slowly stands up, glaring at this new interruption. "And who the hell is this dork?" Dom doesn't flinch. He just smirks, asking if jumping a guy 3-on-1 makes them feel like tough guys. He cracks his knuckles. He was honestly getting a little bored anyway, so why not let him join the fun? TJ scoffs, warning Dom that he's literally begging for a hospital visit, so he better not go crying about it later. But suddenly, one of TJ's lackeys grabs his arm in panic. He nervously begs TJ to drop it and just walk away. The other goon leans in, whispering frantically that this guy is totally unhinged and way too dangerous. Hearing Dom's terrifying reputation, TJ visibly pales. Backing down, he turns away, muttering that he doesn't have time to waste on these pathetic losers. He points at Jay, growling that he better thank his lucky stars his little buddy showed up to save his skin today. He signals his boys to bail, ignoring Dom, calling out to ask where the cowards are running off to. Dom just chuckles, assuming those idiots finally sensed his overwhelming aura and ran for their lives. Smiling proudly, he offers a hand down to Jay and asks if he's holding up all right. But Jay completely ignores the gesture. He coldly mutters that he's fine and tells Dom to just forget about him. Annoyed by the total lack of gratitude, Dom frowns and wonders why everyone always catches such a bad attitude around him. Meanwhile, across town, Minu is walking down the street, surrounded by a group of giggling girls. TJ happens to brush past him, throwing a salty comment about Minu just being a spoiled little rich boy. He loudly calls them a bunch of sunny high losers. And one of the girls rolls her eyes, wondering what on earth that guy's massive problem is. But Minu stops dead in his tracks. Spotting Jay up ahead, he quickly tells the girls to go on without him. He smoothly plays it off, claiming he just remembered something super important he needs to take care of right now. Pouting slightly, one of the girls complains, asking what could possibly have come up so suddenly. Back in the alley, Dom looks Jay up and down. "Dude, your bike is completely totaled and you look like absolute garbage. Are you seriously sure you can even make it home on your own?" Just then, Minu jogs over his eyes, widening at the blood. "Whoa, Jay. What the hell happened to your face? Did you seriously get into a street fight?" Dom quickly chimes in, bragging that a bunch of mountain-high punks were jumping him. But he swooped in and saved the day. Minu's expression darkens. "Wait, was it TJ? It instantly clicks that sore loser must be hunting for revenge after getting smoked in yesterday's race. Wiping the blood from his lip, Jay glares at Minu. What did you enjoy watching the show? Feeling guilty, Minu apologizes for dragging him into this mess, saying they should probably just take off and leave him be. But Jay brushes it off. He just makes one thing crystal clear: never bring up that crew around him ever again. Still, Minu insists on at least grabbing some drugstore supplies to patch up his bleeding cuts. Jay's response: a cold hard get lost. Minu is completely baffled by his toxic attitude. He just wants to make sure the guy gets home in one piece. Yet again, Jay aggressively pushes them away, demanding they stay out of his business. Dom, however, has had absolutely enough of this stubborn act. He steps right up and delivers a heavy smack to the back of Jay's head. As Jay instantly drops, Dom casually claims he barely tapped him, while Minu freaks out, asking if Dom has completely lost his mind. Seriously, who the heck knocks out a guy who's already been beaten half to death? Dom just shrugs it off. All that back and forth arguing was giving him a headache, so he put a stop to it. Scooping Jay's unconscious body over his shoulder, Dom casually announces he's carrying him home. He then orders Minu to grab the bike. Minu asks for the game plan, but Dom cluelessly admits he has no idea where they're even going. It hits Minu Dom doesn't even know where Jay actually lives. Minu completely loses it. If he didn't know the address, why the heck did he knock their only guide unconscious? With no other options, the duo hauls him straight to a local pharmacy first. While paying for the medical supplies, Minu desperately tries to figure out their next move. Meanwhile, Jay's younger brother Kay is casually strolling down the street. Just thinking about grabbing a bite before his tutoring session, he suddenly spots a battered body slumped on the pavement. Assuming it's just some Sunny High bullies causing trouble, he glances at the victim and realizes something. That beaten face looks awfully familiar. The realization hits him like a truck. It's his older brother. He impulsively yells out Jay's name in shock. Hearing the shout, Dom and Minu snap their heads around. Dom wonders if the kid is talking to their unconscious passenger, and Minu figures he must be. Panic immediately sets in for Kay. Those terrifying punks are locking eyes with him, and he just knows he's dead meat if they grab him too. Not wanting any part of that beatdown, he freezes as Dom yells out, asking if he's related to the guy they're carrying. Kay immediately plays dumb, turns his head, and speed walks away, claiming he has absolutely no clue who they're talking about. Scratching his head, Dom assumes the kid was just shouting at someone else down the block. But Minu squints, realizing something is way off about that kid. He has that exact same dead-eyed stare and irritatingly familiar tone. Looking closer, the resemblance to Jay is uncanny. It clicks. That's definitely his brother. Trying to play it cool, Kay starts awkwardly whistling while breaking into a desperate power walk. The guys are utterly irritated, who hilariously tries to act chill while literally sprinting for their life. They immediately dash after him, shouting for him to stop. After finally cornering the kid, they demand to know why on earth he'd abandon his own flesh and blood. Kay deadpans that survival of the fittest comes first. He's got to protect his own skin. Dom rolls his eyes at the extreme selfishness, while Minu questions if terrible personalities just run in their family genetics. Kay then scoffs, amazed that straight-laced Jay is actually getting into street brawls. And to top it off, hanging out with a couple of weirdo losers, he calls it complete. After that chaotic detour, the group finally arrives at Jay's place. Playing street doctor, Dom slaps on some antiseptic and bandages across Jay's bruised face. Wiping his hands, he proudly declares his medical masterpiece complete. The rest of the healing process, well, that's entirely up to the patient's. Minu sarcastically claps for his amazing first aid skills, while Kay just watches in silence, wondering who these absolute morons even are. Suddenly noticing Kay's weird fashion choice, Minu asks why he has a random band-aid plastered right under his nose. Is the kid actually trying to pull off some tough guy aesthetic? Dom just smirks, calling it his own little secret. Minu doesn't care. He yanks off the band-aid and tells him to shove that secret where the sun doesn't shine. But when Minu actually sees what's underneath, his jaw drops. He mutters that the principal is going to chew him out big time if he ever finds out. Glancing around the empty place, Minu asks if anyone else is even home. Kay casually mentions their parents are rarely around, making Minu realize this house feels a lot like his own lonely setup. Stepping into Jay's room, Minu takes in the endless mountains of textbooks. He can't help but think how incredibly dull this guy's life must be. Noticing Kay death glaring them from the doorway, Minu asks what his deal is. The kid bluntly states he's just waiting to see if they're lying about being his brother's buddies, and are actually just here to swipe some stuff. Honestly, he highly doubts a guy like Jay even has friends. Minu sighs, realizing the kid is just as prickly as his older brother. This brat's attitude makes Minu want to smack him right in the face. Meanwhile, Dom is busy staring at a framed picture, wondering if the slick bike in the shot belongs to Jay. Curiosity getting the better of him, Minu leans over to see whose photo it is. Looking at the cool kid in the frame, they both assume it has to be Jay's older brother. But Kay quickly shuts that down, pointing out that the guy in the picture is actually Jay himself. Minu's mind starts racing with a million questions. Since when did the nerdy class president ride a bike like that? And why the heck did he randomly show up out of nowhere yet? Dom snaps him out of it, asking what he's muttering about. But as he stares at Minu's face, he suddenly starts seeing Yuna's features in him. He blinks hard, wondering if he's totally losing his mind right now. He figures he must just be insanely desperate and lonely these days to imagine things like that. Little does Dom know, Yuna and Minu are literally siblings. Unaware of Dom's internal crisis, Minu keeps staring at the guy in the photo, recognizing a familiar vibe. Suddenly, Jay groans, sits up in bed, and demands to know what the hell they are doing in his room. Smirking, Minu asks if Mr. President has finally decided to wake up. Ignoring the joke, Jay springs up and aggressively snatches the photo frame right out of their hands. He snaps at them to keep their filthy paws off his stuff and kicks them out of his house. Minu points to his own bruised face, reminding the ungrateful jerk that they practically carried him home and patched him up. Dom puffs out his chest, bragging that there's no need to thank them since helping a classmate is just what heroes do. Annoyed, Jay just rips off the carefully placed bandages. Dom instantly whines about his wasted effort while Jay coldly orders them to bounce. He is seriously not in the mood for this nonsense. Dom pats his shoulder, asking if he's really going to kick them to the curb so coldly. They dragged his heavy body all the way here after all, but Jay shoots back with a deadpan look, reminding them they aren't even friends. Ignoring his attitude, the duo immediately gets hyped about raiding his PC instead. They are dying to uncover what kind of spicy hidden folders he's got stashed, and exactly what type of girls their uptight president is into. Jay panics and tells them to back away from his desk, which only makes them scream that he's definitely hiding the good stuff. They eagerly boot it up, only to find nothing but hours of boring online study lectures. Dom visibly gags at the screen. He genuinely can't fathom how this guy survives such a depressing lifestyle. Minu totally agrees, labeling Jay as a hopeless study nerd. Shaking his head, Dom declares it's time to guide this lost soul down a dark path to a whole new world. He proudly states they should be thanking their lucky stars they met him. Minu immediately plays along, bowing to the master and begging for some top-tier content. Jay angrily barks at them to step away from the keyboard right this second. Meanwhile, outside the room, Kay realizes he's wasted way too much time watching these clowns and is now running late. Back inside, Dom manages to pull up a sketchy file named Blue Sky. With a wicked grin, he tells the boys to brace themselves for absolute greatness. Kay grabs the door handle to leave, but suddenly stops, wondering why the room just went dead silent. Inside, all three guys are completely glued to the screen, watching a steamy adult video with their jaws on the floor. Even Kay peeks in his nose, immediately bleeding as he experiences the overwhelming power of this sweet new world. And just like that, in the absolute dead silence of Jay's room, these boys truly became men. The guys are absolutely hyped after finishing the video. Dom mentions he's got to clock in for his shift while Minu heads off to class. Left alone, Jay stares at his monitor, annoyed that those idiots actually downloaded this trash onto his PC. He moves his mouse to delete the file, but his finger hovers over the button. Glancing over his shoulder to make sure the coast is clear, he opens the video for one last peek. Suddenly, the door swings open. His brother walks in to ask a question, only to be hit with some very questionable spicy sounds blasting from the speakers. Meanwhile, Dom and Minu are casually strolling down the street. Minu smirks, admitting that the video was actually pretty top tier. Dom chuckles and asks if he wants the link to the website. The two high-five over their shared cultured tastes, agreeing they definitely need to hang out more. Dom waves goodbye, saying he's off to work and will catch him at school later. As they split up, Minu watches him go, wondering if the big guy works a part-time job after class. Minu pulls out his phone, his expression turning dead serious. It's time to settle things once and for all. He shoots a text to his crew, ordering everyone to meet up at the park. Tonight, they're having a mandatory emergency meeting. He makes it crystal clear TJ and the Mountain High guys better show up. Soon enough, the crew rolls up to the spot, whispering and wondering what's going on. TJ struts in with his usual swagger, telling the rest of the losers to stop whining and take it up with Minu directly. A few guys ask TJ if there's some fresh beef between them, but he just shrugs it off. June points out that Minu wouldn't call a sudden meeting for nothing. TJ just sneers, mocking June for constantly kissing up to his little Sunny High buddy. Minu finally steps into the park. One look at his face, and everyone instantly knows he is absolutely furious. TJ smirks, calling him a rich little prince for showing up late. In response, Minu silently slips off his silver ring, leaving the crowd completely confused. Without a single word, Minu steps forward and lands a brutal punch right square in TJ's face. TJ stumbles backward, wiping his mouth before spitting a wad of blood onto the pavement. His boys rush in to hold him back, yelling at Minu and asking if he's completely lost his mind. Even June is shocked. He demands to know what the hell is going on. Minu glares coldly, telling TJ to stop dragging the crew's name through the mud. In fact, it's time for him to pack his bags and leave the crew entirely. The entire park falls silent. What is he talking about? Is he seriously trying to kick out TJ and the entire Mountain High squad? TJ scoffs, asking what kind of garbage he's spouting now. Minu warns him not to play dumb. He knows TJ jumped the guy who beat him in a race yesterday. TJ rolls his eyes. Is he really throwing a tantrum over that nerd student president? He shoots back that the president threw the first punch exactly like Minu just did. And if anyone should be walking away from this crew, it's Minu. June lets out a heavy sigh, realizing this whole situation has turned into a massive train wreck. TJ points to the crowd, loudly declaring that the rest of the crew is sick and tired of their so-called leader. He hypes them up, telling everyone not to just stand there in silence. Finally, one guy steps forward, sweating nervously as he admits he hates how Minu constantly summons them out of nowhere like lapdogs. Another member chimes in. That student president isn't even one of them, so who cares if he got jumped? He adds that Minu can't just boot people out without taking a crew vote. Did he really drag them all out here in the middle of the night just to flex his power and kick TJ out? TJ smirks, declaring that the tides have officially turned in his favor. What is the rich boy going to do now? Someone yells out that Minu hasn't even been riding lately anyway because of his messed up leg. Another guy laughs, shouting that all he does is flirt with girls all day, so maybe he should just go start a cute little club at school instead. With his deep pocket starting up, a brand new crew would be an absolute breeze. June steps right in, demanding they cut it out. He warns them to watch their mouths before spitting out more garbage. Fired up Minu proposes a challenge. They are going to settle this on the track. Winner takes all. The loser. They pack their bags and leave the crew for good. TJ smirks, accepting the terms, but mocks Minu's busted leg. Unfazed, Minu snaps back that he could crush him with just one good leg, no sweat. Playing along, TJ raises the stakes to a 3-on-3 battle. Same rules apply. The losing side gets kicked to the curb fair and square. Minu does not back down. He arrogantly claims he will take on all three of them by himself. But June isn't having it, immediately volunteering to back him up. Minu tries to brush him off, but June points out the obvious: there is no way he can solo a whole team with a messed up knee. TJ grins. It is officially a showdown between Sunny High and Mountain High. He then turns to the crowd, asking if anyone wants to fill Sunny High's empty third spot. The crowd murmurs in hesitation. Nobody wants to risk getting booted from the crew over this mess. Tired of waiting, June firmly states they do not need a third wheel. They are doing this exactly as is. TJ happily agrees to the handicap. 2-on-3 it is. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a mystical dragon, asking a boy what his ultimate wish is. The boy answers without hesitation. He wants a ripped, godlike physique, just like Chris Hemsworth. Granting his desire, the dragon hands him a mysterious mushroom. One bite and his wildest fantasies will become a reality. He devours it instantly, and his body rapidly bulks up. Now fully transformed, the girls stare at him in total awe. They whisper about how incredibly tall he is. He has got perfect proportions and a killer confident swagger. Every girl there wants a piece of him. A massive crowd of girls swarms him, desperately asking if he is single. They are practically begging for his digits. Flirting back, he tells one girl it will cost her 1 heartbeat per number. She aggressively pulls him. Girls are literally lining up just to get his digits. But reality hits hard. He snaps out of his sweet daydream the second a milk carton thuds onto his desk. A girl leans over, asking what kind of dream had him grinning like that. She teases that he looked super happy. The boy plays it cool, replying that it was nothing, but he makes sure to thank her for the drink anyway. Chugging the milk down, he instantly feels a refreshing, glowing rush. Out of nowhere, his buddy throws a heavy arm around his shoulder, dragging him off to the cafeteria for lunch. The boy curses him out, totally annoyed that the sudden grab made him spill his delicious drink. As his friend playfully showers him with joke kisses, the girl just stares, completely amused by their wild bromance. The scene shifts. Standing right behind them, June looks stressed, asking what their game plan is now. Minu just smirks, acting like the answer is crystal clear. They are going to absolutely crush the competition and kick them to the curb. June is not buying it. He demands to know how they plan to win when Minu is rocking a busted leg. Minu tells him to chill. He claims the doctor actually recommended a little biking to speed up his recovery. June fires back, pointing out that winning this race will take a hell of a lot more than just a casual ride. Plus, going into a 2 versus 3 matchup puts them at a massive disadvantage. He urges Minu to swallow his pride and invite Jay to help them out. Since Jay is the reason they are in this mess, stepping up to the plate is the least he could do. But Minu shuts it down cold. He snaps back that they do not need his help at all. He's done dragging him into their messy crew drama, so he just tells June to chill out and lay low. They've got this race in the bag, no doubt about it. Meanwhile, Jay is completely zoned in on his books, shutting out the rest of the world. Mia slides up to his desk, gently dropping a first aid kit right in front of him. Her cheeks turn bright red as she shyly mumbles that it's for his scraped face. But Jay just gives her the cold shoulder. "I didn't ask you for anything," he shoots back. Yuna slams her hands on the desk, totally furious. "What is your problem, dude? A girl actually cares about you, and you can't even say thank you. She saw that gash on your face this morning and was freaking out. She literally sprinted to the pharmacy just for you." Panicking, Mia slaps her hand over Yuna's mouth before she can embarrass her any further. Dom casually claps Jay on the shoulder, smirking. "Sleep okay last night, man? Hope you didn't stay up too late grinding." Yuna raises an eyebrow. "Wait, since when do you two know each other?" Dom just grins, saying they had some quality bonding time over a computer screen yesterday. Yuna tilts her head, completely lost. Mia awkwardly guesses they were just gaming or something. Suddenly, another student shouts out, telling Jay an upperclassman is looking for him. As Jay stands up to leave, Dom teases him about being the popular guy on campus. Then Dom slides over to Yuna with a flirty smirk, asking if they should bond too. Big mistake. Yuna grabs him in a flash and body slams him straight into the floor. Out in the hallway, the older student June is nervously pacing around as he waits for Jay. A group of girls walks by, totally swooning over the cute new guy. Trying to be friendly, June throws them a polite wave and a hello, but they just walk right past, loudly whispering rumors that he doesn't even like girls. June's face drops in instant defeat, screaming internally that it's absolutely not true. Jay finally steps out of the classroom and June immediately zeroes in on his battered face. It clicks. This was the exact reason Minu completely lost his cool and threw down with TJ. The two just stand there in an awkward stare down. June starts sweating, wondering if Jay completely forgot who he is. Seriously, does this guy have face blindness or something? Desperate, June starts frantically giving him a step-by-step recap of their last encounter. Finally, the gears turn in Jay's head. It's the same guy from before. Taking a deep breath, June begs him for a massive favor. He explains how Minu sparked a total war after seeing what TJ did to Jay's face. Minu swore he wouldn't drag Jay back into this dangerous street racing life. But June pleads anyway. "We need your help tonight against the Mountain High crew." Jay just sighs flat out, stating he wants absolutely nothing to do with their gang. "I know it's incredibly selfish," June begs, "but if we lose tonight, Minu is getting stripped of his crew." Jay looks at him dead in the eye. "And why should I care what happens to him?" He's completely done listening. As Jay turns his back to walk away, June desperately shouts that they'll be at the usual park at 8 o'clock tonight. "If you change your mind, just show up," he yells, quickly bowing and apologizing for wasting his break. Cut to later that evening, the streets are already swarming with a hyped-up crowd ready for the showdown. The tension is insane as everyone places their bets on who will take the... Minu stretches out, locking in. It's almost go time. June anxiously taps his watch. It's way past 8 o'clock. His heart sinks. Is Jay really going to leave them hanging? Slapping on his helmet, he swallows hard, realizing they're going to have to survive this bloodbath alone. The rival crews line up at the starting block, and the crowd goes wild, knowing this race is going to be pure chaos. June sizes up TJ's ride, immediately spotting the upgrades. The guy actually installed brakes and swapped out his front wheel. Dripping with arrogance, TJ leans over to talk trash directly to Minu's face. "Don't push yourself too hard," he sneers, "unless you want both of your legs permanently crushed." Mino cuts him off, telling him to shut his mouth and just keep his eyes on the race. The referee steps up, announcing that it is time to kick things off. But before he can even explain the rules, a girl suddenly screeches to a halt on her bike, yelling for them to hold on. Whipping off her helmet, she breathes a massive sigh of relief. She actually made it in time. Flashing a bright smile, she introduces herself as Harry. She is the lively voice behind a popular cycling YouTube channel. Word on the street was a massive race was going down tonight, so she rushed over as fast as she could. The guys immediately turned bright red, totally caught off guard by a cute girl who is actually into bikes. She asks if they would mind her live streaming the showdown. Mino flashes a thumbs up, saying it would be an absolute honor. TJ just smirks. Perfect. Now he can completely humiliate Mino in front of the entire internet too. Popping in her earbuds, Harry double-checks her gear to make sure everything is running smoothly. She hits record, asking her chat if the audio is clear, while the referee clears his throat to finally lay down the ground rules. Tonight's main event, a high-stakes relay race. It works just like a standard track relay where teammates pass a baton to the next rider and loop the course. But instead of basic batons, they will be passing around glowing LED armbands. A quick slap against the wrist and it snaps right into place. The next riders will be waiting in position at their marked checkpoints. The first squad to pass the band and cross the finish line takes the crown. And just to remind everyone of the stakes, the losing squad is getting permanently... He turns back to Mino, asking one last time if he really wants to go through with this. After all, Mino's team is down a rider, putting them at a massive disadvantage. Mino just brushes it off, telling him to stop sweating the details. He does not give a damn if it is 3 against 2 or 4 against 2. They are taking home the win regardless. With that out of the way, the referee declares the terms officially locked in. Once the wheel starts spinning, there is zero room for crying about unfairness. He orders both teams to slap on their armbands and get ready to ride. Mino sarcastically warns TJ not to crack his skull open this time around. In return, TJ smirks, wishing him good luck pedaling with just one good leg. Harry hypes up her chat, announcing the epic showdown between the two rival teams. Slipping on his helmet, TJ's eyes narrow. He is going to absolutely crush them tonight. Leading the charge for Mountain High is their heavy hitter Hyung. Mino turns to June, telling him to take Hyung on with his road bike. Since the first stretch is packed with tight corners, June's gears will give him a huge edge over Hyung's fixie. June hesitates, asking if Mino is seriously okay with taking on two guys with a busted leg. Mino's gaze hardens. He vows to destroy TJ and Mountain High no matter what it takes. Hearing that, June nods, promising to keep Hyung in check. Still, June warns his friend not to push his body too far. Moments later, the starting riders roll up to the line. Harry angles her phone high above her head, getting the perfect camera shot for her stream. The referee holds up a metal bike cog, announcing that the race kicks off the exact second it hits the pavement. Clink. The metal drops and the riders explode off the starting line. Mountain High instantly takes the lead. Trailing closely behind on her bike, Harry shouts into her mic that they are already pushing 26 miles per hour. With Mountain High dominating early on, their crew watches the live feed, hyped that Hyung is setting such a killer pace. Glancing back, Hyung taunts June, asking if that is seriously all he has got. But June remains dead focused, sticking to Hyung like glue through every single sharp turn. Annoyed, Hyung grits his teeth. Why the hell is this guy still riding his tail? He knows he needs to break away and create some serious distance right now. Pumping his legs furiously, Hyung cranks up his speed slowly, forcing June to drop back. But June refuses to back down, pushing his limits to stay right on his tail. Yang glances back, frustrated. Why won't this kid just give up? The harder Yang pedals, the heavier the pressure feels breathing down his neck. Wait, is he using me for a slipstream? Slipstreaming is a clever, wind-breaking trick to cut down on air resistance. The guy up front takes the full force of the headwind, giving the rider behind him a free, easy ride. Watching the drone feed, Harry smirks. Not bad for a bunch of high schoolers. The rest of the crew holds their breath, totally on edge about whether their guy can actually pull this off. Yang grits his teeth. No way in hell am I letting him ride my coattails. If he can just clear this damn hill, the victory is theirs. Suddenly, June bursts out of the draft. Thanks for the free ride, he taunts, zooming past. Now it is a pure test of raw muscle and stamina. June shifts into high gear, his legs pumping like pistons as his speed skyrockets. Harry's voice booms over the mic, and Sunny High's red band rider snatches the lead. He just blew past Mountain High right on the brutal uphill climb. The crowd goes absolutely wild. Dude, that strategy was insane. Yang is left eating dust, completely baffled. How is he climbing that fast? Down the track, the anchor riders are stretching out, getting into position. Minu cracks his knuckles with a confident smirk. They are almost here, time to show them what I've got. G1 shoots him a skeptical look. How do you even know who is going to cross first? Come on, Minu scoffs. You really think their guy can outpedal our June? Right on cue, June crests the hill. His face lights up the second he spots Minu waiting in the exchange zone. He smoothly hands off the relay armband. Bring it home, man. Minu takes off like a rocket. Over the broadcast, Harry announces, Sunny High's second runner is officially loose on the track. One guy in the crowd smirks, thinking that if Minu holds this crazy gap, the race is already practically over. Following closely, Harry shouts into his mic, the Sunny High rider is cranking. He is mere moments away from tearing into the final third of the track. The spectators are stunned by his blistering pace. While the crowd mocks Mountain High for getting totally wrecked, a totally exhausted June finally catches. He stares down the track, a knot forming in his stomach. Just please do not get hurt out there, Minu. Flashbacks of a brutal crash that wrecked Minu's leg heavily weigh on his mind. Meanwhile, Minu is sweating bullets. Just a little further, I cannot afford to lose to TJ and get kicked out. At the final checkpoint, TJ taps his foot, visibly ticked off. Where the hell is my guy? A few onlookers sneer at him. Looks like you might actually take a massive L today, man. With Sunny High dominating the lead, TJ snaps back. Piss off. Are you losers? Feeling brave after getting your asses handed to you? Suddenly, a shadow darts around the bend. Minu is here. Minu blasts right past the zone while TJ is still stuck waiting, absolutely fuming. The crowd watches in sheer awe. Dude, Minu is an absolute beast. Where is this useless trash taking so long? TJ screams. Finally, his teammate rolls up, huffing, I am coming as fast as I can. Up ahead, Minu is absolutely flying down the street, when a stray cat suddenly darts right into his path. Panic hits. Minu slams on the brakes, and a sickening pop shoots through his injured leg. Oh no, I messed it up again. His bike flips out of control, sending him crashing brutally onto the hard asphalt. Harry's jaw drops. Wait, did he just wipe out? A shocked gasp echoes through the crowd. Holy crap, what just happened to Minu? He had a flawless lead, and now it is all. June watches in absolute shock. He just can't believe his eyes. Minu actually went down. Sprawled out on the hard concrete, a bruised and battered Minu just stares at his trembling hand. Harry immediately panics, telling the chat she has to kill the stream due to a sudden crash. The screen goes black, leaving the viewers totally bummed out and complaining in the chat. One kid in the crowd murmurs, asking if this is really the end of the line for Sunny High. Meanwhile, June clicks his helmet strap back into place, kicking himself with the thought that Minu never should have raced on a busted leg. Totally oblivious to the drama behind him, TJ is mashing his pedals like a madman. But as he glances back, he catches sight of Minu wiped out on the asphalt, with Harry rushing to his side. A twisted manic smirk spreads across TJ's face. He totally called it. Coasting forward with the wind in his face, TJ feels like the luckiest guy on the planet right now. Back at the crash site, Harry hovers anxiously over Minu, desperately asking if he is seriously hurt. Out of nowhere, Jay rolls onto the scene. He looks down and flatly asks why Minu is eating dirt like a total wimp. Annoyed and in pain, Minu snaps back, telling Jay to wipe that deadpan look, but Jay doesn't leave. Instead, he reaches down, snatches the racer's band right out of Minu's hand, and firmly straps it onto his own arm. Flashback to Jay's house, he left a sticky note on the table telling his little brother to go ahead. His brother sighs, wondering when his older sibling is finally going to grow up. Back in the present, Jay casually mentions that June already filled him in on the route and the rules of the race. He makes it crystal clear he is only stepping into this mess to get some sweet payback on those punks for messing with him earlier. A smirk tugs at Minu's lips as he tosses his helmet through the air. Jay snags it effortlessly, and Minu tells him to go out there and give those guys absolute hell. Jay stares at the helmet in disgust, deadpanning if he actually has to wear the thing. He complains that the inside straight up smells like a sweaty arm. Minu immediately fires back, claiming it smells way better than that, and tells Jay to stop being such a stuck-up jerk. Harry side-eyes Jay's beaten-up bicycle, her jaw practically hitting the floor as she realizes he is actually going to race on that old clunker. Meanwhile, up at the front of the pack, TJ is having the time of his life cruising toward the finish line. He chuckles to himself, bragging that this is officially the last time Minu will ever dare to act cocky around him again. The idiot really shouldn't have challenged him with a busted leg in the first place. Back at the crash site, Minu mentally wishes TJ the best of luck, because a literal monster is currently hunting him down. The moment TJ peeks over his shoulder, his blood runs cold. He sees Jay pedaling fiercely right behind. He instantly freaks out, his mind short-circuiting as he tries to figure out where the heck this guy just. Panic kicks in. TJ starts mashing his pedals even harder, cursing those Sunny High morons for keeping Jay's entry a secret. Every time he looks back, it feels like Jay is charging right at his back wheel like an enraged bull. But TJ grits his teeth. He has come way too far to throw this race away now. His brain scrambles for a strategy, and he remembers that a steep downhill section is coming up next. He is dead set on the fact that Jay won't be able to survive that final brutal U-shaped curve without slamming on the brakes. All TJ needs to do is blow right past him on the descent, and the victory is in the bag. TJ quickly bombs into the downhill section with Jay breathing right down his neck. But as he picks up speed, the traumatic memory of previously crashing hard into the guardrail flashes through his mind. Fear takes over. TJ instinctively squeezes his brakes, and in a split second, Jay blows right past. TJ stares in absolute horror, wondering if this dude has a straight-up death wish. Defying all logic, Jay triggers the rock wall technique right on the steep slope. TJ watches completely mind-blown. For context, the rock wall is a high-tier trick that lets a rider whip a full 180-degree turn, using nothing but their front. Mid-air, Jay perfectly reverses his bike's momentum. TJ's brain literally blue screens, once again questioning if Jay has lost his damn mind. Seriously, what kind of lunatic attempts a life-threatening stunt like that on a downhill drop? Then out of nowhere, Jay screeches to a dead halt, totally blocking the road. Panicking, TJ screams at him to move his butt out of the way before they both get killed. But Jay just stands there cold as ice, completely unbothered. Left with zero options, TJ is forced to slam hard on his brakes. Tires squeal against the asphalt. TJ barely manages to stop in time. Heart pounding out of his chest, TJ yells out, asking if he's actually insane. Jay just glares back coldly, stating that this is what happens when you disrespect a man's bike. Still catching his breath, TJ looks at him like he's totally lost, wondering what the heck this crazy guy is even yapping. But Jay cuts the confusion short. He declares that they are settling their score right here, right now. It is time to find out which ride is actually faster, TJ's fancy carbon fiber frame or the piece of metal scrap he insulted earlier. TJ glares, asking if Jay is seriously throwing down a challenge. If so, he's more than ready to accept. Jay lays down the rules, an all-out no-brakes sprint down the straightaway. First one to cross the line, he taunts TJ, wanting to see exactly what that overpriced carbon fiber toy can actually do. If TJ's featherweight machine ends up losing to his quote-unquote hunk of junk, then he better not blame the ride. The only one at fault will be himself. TJ's blood boils. Let's see who eats dust, he snaps. The two rivals quickly line up on the straight path, tensions at an all-time high. Boom! They blast off the starting line. TJ instantly snatches the lead totally, exploiting his bike's insane weight advantage. But Jay isn't sweating it. He drops his posture, slicing through the air resistance, and cranks his pedal. In a flash, he completely overtakes his rival. TJ's eyes go wide, totally stunned that he's actually losing to this arrogant jerk. Meanwhile, Minu finally limps back to the park side by side with June. His crew immediately swarms him, worried sick. Minu lowers his head, apologizing for blowing the race. He admits his leg just hasn't fully healed yet. June lets out a heavy sigh, telling his friend he never should have pushed. Harry chimes in, saying it's an absolute miracle he didn't break any bones wiping out at that crazy speed. But the Mountain High squad isn't showing any mercy, proudly gloating about their victory. One of the punks even mocks Minu, sarcastically thanking him for letting them draft off his wind. Suddenly, a lone rider from Sunny High comes tearing down the road wearing the red band. Everyone squints. It's Jay pushing relentlessly forward, leaving a deeply frustrated Jay fuming in his wake. The dude is just losing his mind, unable to process how his top-tier gear is getting wrecked by a rusty relic. As the rider crosses the mark, the crowd gasps. It's Jay, the student council president, and he just absolutely demolished TJ. The Mountain High crew immediately flips out, screaming that Sunny High rigged the match. They start demanding answers, questioning where the heck this new guy even came from. Completely unbothered, Jay unzips his jacket, literal steam rolling off his overheated body. TJ storms over, spitting bitter curses after taking such a humiliating loss, but Jay just stares him down. You're the hunk of junk, he says, not the bike. He coldly suggests TJ go master the absolute basics of pedaling before ever daring to challenge him again. TJ's face turns red with rage as he snarls, asking what the hell he means by that. Before things get physical, the referee steps right in, blocking TJ from making a stupid move. But the crowd is still buzzing. This J kid isn't an official crew member. The ref looks at Sunny High, questioning the validity of the win. He demands to know why a totally new rider was suddenly swapped in mid-race. Bringing in an outsider completely breaks the rules of an underground crew battle. He turns to Minu, throwing his own pre-race words right back in his face. The deal was strictly 3 against 2, and whatever happened out on the asphalt would be totally final. The exact second Minu hit the pavement, Sunny High technically lost. Minu cuts the ref off, saying he doesn't need a play-by-play of the rulebook. Without hesitating, he tightly grips his team badge, declaring he's going to put an end to all this messy drama. In a shocking move, he forcefully tears the badge off his jacket, announcing he's stepping down from the crew. He locks eyes with his rivals, telling them that should shut up all their complaints. Since he's walking away, he tells the remaining members to take good care of the crew without him. Those Mountain High scumbags just smirk as he steps down. But June quickly wraps an arm around Minu's shoulder, assuring him he made the right call. Minu looks down, deeply sorry that his massive screw-up dragged his best friend down with him. June just smiles warmly, brushing it off like it's absolutely nothing. He reminds Minu that the only reason he ever joined this street crew in the first place, if his best bro isn't on the roster anymore, then there's literally 0 point in sticking around. Out of nowhere, Jay calls out Minu's name and casually tosses the borrowed helmet back his way. Minu catches it, genuinely thanking the guy for stepping up and racing with them today. Jay doesn't say a single word, just silently pulling up his hood and walking off. Watching his back, Minu chuckles to himself, thinking the guy is still the exact same arrogant prick as always. June and Mino finally bail from the scene. June checks on him, but Mino winces. His busted leg is absolutely killing him. Still, he manages a smirk, telling June to go hit the books for his entrance exams. June just rolls his eyes, totally unamused. Meanwhile, those Mountain High punks are busy planning a victory party. They holler at TJ to join in, but he just stands there completely zoned out. Deep down, he knows the truth. This didn't feel like a real win at all. Suddenly, a voice echoes from the shadows, calling TJ by his nickname Mamushi Boy. TJ spins around, ready to snap at whoever is testing him. But the second he spots Vinny, all that tough guy energy evaporates. Vinny smirks, stepping closer. He taunts him, asking if TJ is actually going to throw a punch. Stuttering TJ demands to know why he is lurking around. Vinny just tilts his head. Is it a crime for him to show up? Backpedaling hard, TJ stammers an excuse. Vinny ignores it, mentioning he caught the live stream. He knows Mino is back in the saddle. TJ quickly brushes it off, claiming Mino is basically a nobody now. His crew just lost today's race and got permanently booted. Vinny chuckles darkly. So with the big bad cat out of the picture, all the little mice are throwing a party. The trio frantically shake their heads, denying it. But Vinny doesn't care. He coldly tells them their crew is nothing but a joke. Turning his back on them, Vinny walks off, his mind racing. So Mino is really back on two wheels. A twisted thought crosses his mind. Maybe he should permanently ruin that other leg just to be sure. Over his shoulder, Vinny announces he is quitting the crew. They can play their little games without him. Watching him leave, TJ gulps, wondering what kind of nightmare Vinny is plotting next. Cut to Mino dragging himself back to his massive, luxurious house. He scoffs to himself. Getting kicked out of a crew he built. He is having a real Steve Jobs moment right now. He clenches his fists. If that bad leg hadn't given out, that victory would have been his. Just his luck, his folks pull up into the driveway at the exact same moment. Mino mutters a quick greeting, but his dad instantly zeroes in on his bruised face. He demands answers. Wasn't he supposed to be locked in his room studying? Why does he constantly come home looking like he just survived a war zone? His stepmom steps in, playing the peacemaker. She gently reminds her husband that teenagers will be teenagers. Faking concern, she gasps at the cut on Mino's cheek. She reaches out, asking in a sweet voice if he took another nasty spill on that bike of his. She insists on patching him up, but Mino glares daggers at her, snapping at her to keep her fake hands off him. Smack. His dad backhands him across the face, roaring in absolute fury. Has he completely lost his mind? How dare he speak to his mother with that kind of disrespect? He is the eldest son. He is supposed to be the golden role model for his younger siblings. Mino spits blood, laughing bitterly. He tells his dad to shove those expectations. He stares his father down. Does he honestly believe this woman actually loves him? Wake up, with his real mom gone, she is only here to drain his bank accounts. His dad's face turns beet red. He steps up, shaking with rage at the sheer audacity. He screams that Mino is the real parasite here, burning through cash just to buy useless, expensive bikes. If anyone is using him as an ATM, it is his own ungrateful son. He barks an order hand over the wallet and every single credit card right now. Without missing a beat, Mino yanks them out and tosses them onto the cold pavement. He scoffs, making it clear he doesn't need a single dime of that dirty money. He tells his dad to have a nice, pathetic life with his gold digger wife. His dad screams curses at his back, completely unhinged, while the family chauffeur desperately tries to hold him back. His final words echo through the driveway. Don't even think about ever stepping foot in this house again. Meanwhile, Yuna is curled into a tight ball on her bed, drowning in. Hours later, we see Mino slumped on a lonely park bench, his trusty bike leaning quietly beside him. He scrolls through his contacts, his thumb hovering. But reality hits hard. There is literally no one he can call for help. He is totally broke, crewless, and officially homeless. He honestly feels like the universe just has it out for him today. Watching a happy family nearby, a heavy wave of nostalgia hits him, bringing back memories of his own childhood. Back then, they were a tight-knit family of 5, and he proudly played the role of the big brother. Things were just so perfectly happy in those days. Tears stream down his face as he chokes up, wondering where it all went so terribly wrong. Suddenly, Jay pops up out of nowhere right beside Minu, casually grabbing a Red Bull from the vending machine. Minu practically jumps out of his skin, totally caught off guard by his sudden appearance. Jay side-eyes him, asking if he's seriously bawling his eyes out over losing the race. Wiping his face quickly, Minu defensively snaps back that he wasn't crying at all. Whatever, Jay brushes him off, noisily slurping his energy drink as he turns to head home. Desperate, Minu stops him in his tracks, begging to crash at his place for the night. Jay completely blanks him and keeps walking, but Minu isn't giving up, tailing him down the street and pleading for just one night on his couch. Still not caring in the slightest, Jay bluntly tells him, "That sounds like a personal problem." Minu calls him out for being so cold-hearted, begging him to just do a guy a solid this one single time. Jay shoots him down, saying he has studying to do and telling him to go bother some other friend. Minu sighs, admitting that he would if he could. But honestly, he has no one else to turn to. With zero hesitation, Jay flatly responds that he isn't exactly an option either. As the door slams shut in his face, Minu mutters to himself that they weren't even close back in school anyway. Right on cue, the skies open up, and the freezing rain forces Minu to duck into a cramped shed for cover. Sitting alone, his mind drifts back to all those phonies who only tried to be his friend because they would constantly invite him out, acting like they actually cared. But behind every fake smile was a hidden agenda, and every favor was totally calculated. To survive it, he had to build up walls and wear his own fake mask. His dad always preached that dealing with two-faced people was just a part of life. So Minu learned to bury his true feelings beneath 1,000 different personalities. But the moment the act dropped, that crushing loneliness always crept right back in. That all changed back when he was a kid, and finally got his hands on his very first bike. Riding it was the one and only escape he had from that suffocating isolation. It inspired him to build a cycling crew with people who genuinely just loved to ride, but now he's lost that too. The storm picks up and Minu is soon left shivering, completely drenched in the downpour. That's when he spots a tiny, soaking wet kitten shivering miserably in the cold. The little feline looks awfully familiar. A moment later it clicks. This is the exact same cat that darted onto the racetrack and ruined his race. Frustration flares up. He knows that if it hadn't been for this little furball, he totally would have taken first, but as the kitten slowly limps forward, he immediately notices its badly injured leg. His anger completely melts away, realizing that blaming a helpless animal isn't going to fix anything now. Reaching into his pocket, he pulls out a piece of chocolate and softly asks if she wants a bite. As the kitten nibbles on the treat, a heavy realization hits him. She didn't block his bike on purpose. She literally couldn't run away because of her busted leg. Scooping the fragile creature into his arms, he whispers, "Are you all alone out here too?" In response, the kitty lets out a weak, heartbreaking meow, as if it completely understood him. Sometime later, Jay's brother is making his way back home through the storm. He squints through the rain, spotting a random guy basically camping out right on their doorstep. Getting a closer look, he instantly recognizes the soaked stranger as one of the 3 guys who visited earlier today. He's super confused as to why this dude is just sitting out here freezing in the pouring rain all by. Minu looks up, wiping the rain from his eyes, and weakly asks, "Wait, are you Kay?" But Kay's eyes are glued to the tiny kitten huddled in Minu's arms, completely tuning out whatever the guy just said. Meanwhile, up in his room, Jay is trying to focus on his textbooks, but his mind keeps drifting away from his studies. Jay lets out a heavy sigh and pushes up from his chair. Grabbing an umbrella, he finally decides to bring Minu inside out of the pouring rain. But right then, his little brother Kay bursts through the front door, wondering where Jay is headed. It doesn't take long for Kay to piece together that Jay is going out to check on his buddy. Turns out, Kay already did the heavy lifting. He says the guy was freezing out there, so he dragged him inside. Minu feels a warm spark of gratitude touched that the kid actually cared. But then Kay drops the punchline. He was only worried about the stray kitten. He literally only brought Minu inside because he was holding the cat. Minu instantly rolls his eyes, annoyed at himself for actually expecting a sweet moment. Ignoring him completely, Kay sprints straight to the bathroom with the tiny furball. He announces he is going to wash her off and patch up her little scratches. Standing there awkwardly, Minu mutters that he will hit the road as soon as the storm lets up. Without a word, Jay just chucks a dry towel right at his face, points a thumb toward the bathroom, and tells him to go wash the grime off. He makes it crystal clear that this is a one-night exception. Instantly, Jay and Kay start bickering over why they are letting this sketchy-looking dude crash at their place. A little while later, Minu steps out of the shower, looking fresh and feeling a million times better. His eyes lock onto the fridge, yelling out that he is absolutely starving. He casually announces he starts digging through the shelves, completely making himself at home. But his timing could not be worse. The front door clicks open, and Jay's mom walks in. She is already demanding to know why a bike is parked outside but stops dead in her tracks, absolutely stunned to see a random teenager scavenging through her fridge. Fast forward a few minutes and the vibe completely flips. Mom is suddenly ordering a massive feast of fried chicken just for Minu. Minu happily scarfs it down, charming her by saying it is his absolute favorite meal. Her hostile attitude has completely vanished. Word reached her that Minu is the heir to the massive Tichong group and she is totally eating it up. Glowing with excitement, she asks Jay how he managed to score such an incredibly high-class friend. Jay just deadpans, bluntly stating that they aren't even friends. Kay immediately calls her out, reminding her that she literally always says having friends is a waste of time. So why the sudden change of heart? Flustered, she just shoves a drumstick right into Kay's mouth, barking at him to finish chewing and get back to his books. She scolds him about his upcoming exams, telling him to focus on studying instead of stuffing his face. Right in the middle of her rant, a faint meow echoes through the room. She freezes, demanding to know where on earth that animal came from. Without missing a beat, Kay throws Minu under the bus, pointing a finger and saying the rich kid brought it inside. Kay immediately scrambles over to the kitten, lovingly calling her Jack. Jay and Minu just exchange a look. The absolute idiot already named the thing. Mom brushes it off, saying it is perfectly fine. Kay can just hand the cat right back to Minu when he gets kicked out tomorrow. Then her eagle eyes zero in on their bruised faces. She suspiciously asks if they have been throwing punches and getting into street fights. Jay nervously gulps his soda, sweating a little, while Minu smoothly lies, claiming they just had a minor disagreement with some random guys from another high school. Fired up, she demands to know exactly what school and who those punks are. Minu plays it cool, saying he has no clue since they were just wearing casual street clothes. She glares at them, scolding them for just standing there and taking a beating like a couple of fools. She firmly declares that those little brats should be dragged straight to the cops to scare the living daylights out of them. Trying to defuse the ticking time bomb, Minu promises her it will never happen again, sweet-talking her into dropping it. Having had enough, Jay stands up, mutters a thanks for the food, and tries to escape. But his mom blocks his path coldly. bringing up his dropping grades. She drops a heavy threat: if his scores do not go up, he can kiss his beloved bike goodbye forever. Jay swallows his pride, nods in understanding, and quickly ducks out of the room. Later that night, Minu pokes his head into Jay's room, teasingly asking if he is secretly watching dirty videos in the dark. But stepping inside, he realizes Jay is actually hunched over his desk, grinding through his textbooks. Minu just flops back onto the comfy bed, letting out a satisfied groan as he sinks into the mattress. Staring at the ceiling, he finally lets his guard down quietly, venting to Jay about how getting straight A's at school isn't the be-all and end-all. Honestly, Minu would kill for a mom who actually cared enough to nag him like that. Cut to Jay. He shoves Minu, trying to kick the freeloader out of his bed. But Minu whines like a baby. "I literally can't sleep on the floor, man." He hits Jay with a smirk and suggests they just snuggle up together. Bam, a pillow instantly smashes into Minu's face. Defeated, Jay sets up some blankets on the hard floor. Breaking the silence, Minu opens up. He explains he only started riding after watching some random kid having an absolute blast on a bike. A light bulb goes off in his head. What if they started their own biking crew? Since Jay clearly loves riding, he'd be the perfect fit. Jay's response: a cold. "Shut up and go to sleep." Minu sighs. Typical Jay, always such a buzzkill. He tells the dude to find some chill for once in his life. Then rolling over, he drops a bomb: he's crashing here for a few more days. Jay bolts upright, eyes wide. "Are you out of your freaking mind?" Minu just shrugs, claiming Jay's mom already gave him the green light to stay. Jay mutters a curse, calling him nothing but a damn homeless freeloader. Minu checks his buzzing phone. It's a text from Yuna asking for his location. He shoots back that he's holed up at Jay's place. He begs her to smuggle him some fresh clothes and his school uniform for tomorrow, which she coolly agrees to. After he drops the pin to his location, we fast forward to the next morning. Minu slowly wakes up to the rhythmic chopping of a kitchen knife. Stumbling out of the bedroom, a mouth-watering aroma hits him. He spots Jay throwing down in the kitchen. Jay doesn't look back, just mentioning his mom already took off for work. But then Minu gets a good look at him and nearly chokes on his own spit. Jay is rocking the most ridiculous girly apron ever. Busting into a fit of laughter, Minu asks if he's practicing for an anime convention or something. Without missing a beat, Jay roasts him right back. "The only joke here is your busted bedhead." Minu wastes no time. He whips out his phone and snaps a quick pic of the masterpiece. "Oh, this is definitely going on my socials," he teases, making Jay scowl. Changing the subject, Minu asks about Jay's little brother. Jay mumbles he's outside messing around with Jack in the yard. Minu thinks to himself, "Guess being an annoying early bird runs in the family." Then he looks at the stove. It's an absolute feast. He assumes Jay whipped up this epic breakfast just to welcome him. Licking his lips, Minu acts all bashful. "Aw dude, you totally didn't have to go all out for me." But Jay just walks right past him. Instantly, Minu's beautiful delusions crumble to dust. Confused, he asks if he's getting a plate. Jay coldly replies, "It's for the cat. You want food, make it yourself." Minu cries about his terrible treatment as a guest, but Jay fires back that he's just an uninvited intruder. Meanwhile, outside, Kay is pacing around, wondering what is taking those idiots so damn long. Cut to a completely different vibe. The school principal is looking sharp, dressing up in his best suit. His phone suddenly rings, making him wonder who would call at this ungodly hour. On the other end is Shelly, his absolute favorite granddaughter, and she drops a massive update: she wants to move to Korea. His face lights up like a Christmas tree, and he enthusiastically tells her to pack her bags ASAP. He is literally counting down the seconds to see his precious girl again. Shelly promises to call him once she lands. Hanging up, she stares out the window, realizing it's been years since she last set foot in Korea. We jump back to Minu, who is crouched down tinkering with his bike. A loud car horn interrupts him, prompting him to step outside to check it out. It's Yuna pulling up. She rolls down the window and demands to know what the heck he's doing out here. Minu brushes it off, saying he was just doing some maintenance after getting caught in yesterday's downpour. Yuna lets out a heavy sigh and tosses a stuffed duffel bag at him. It's loaded with his fresh clothes and all his daily essentials. She warns him he better drag himself back home soon, promising she'll run interference with their dad. But honestly, she's still totally shocked he even managed to stay here. Cut to Jay's place. A friend asks Minu if Jay is actually treating him right. Minu just shrugs it off. Sure, the guy is pretty grumpy, but they make it work. A woman offers Minu a lift to school, but he turns her down, preferring to take his bike. As she hops into her car and waves goodbye, Jay sneaks up right behind him. "Is that your girlfriend?" he asks. Minu instantly fires back that it is his sister. Seriously, who would think he'd date someone that ugly? Then reality hits him. He is talking to Jay, startled. Minu asks how long he has been lurking there. Jay just scoffs. He should have known a total freeloader crashing on his floor would never have a girl. It was a dumb question anyway. Minu grinds his teeth, thinking he absolutely would have beaten the living daylights out of Jay if they were brothers. Changing the subject, Jay announces he is heading out, throwing a quick order to his dog Jack to guard the house. As the two boys get ready for school, Minu notices something and asks if Jay is ditching his bike today. Jay mumbles that he isn't sure yet, asking why Minu even cares. While Minu awkwardly admits he is completely broke zero bus fare, so he has no choice but to pedal. He eagerly suggests they ride together. Cut to the bike path where Minu is suddenly struggling. He stares at the terrible road conditions in absolute disbelief. The lane is just a messy hazard of deep cracks, overgrown branches, and parked cars blocking the way. Fed up, Minu suggests taking a detour through the park. Cruising under the trees, the vibe completely shifts. It is incredibly relaxing. The weather is so gorgeous, Minu actually considers ditching school entirely for a road trip. Minu then realizes something is missing and asks where Jay's helmet is. Jay bluntly replies he doesn't own one. Minu smirks, offering to buy him one since he has been such a great host, until he remembers his empty wallet. Annoyed, Jay tells him to shut his mouth and keep moving. Not giving up, Minu hypes himself up and challenges Jay to a race to school. Jay shoots him down instantly. He can go race himself. Meanwhile, at school, Yuna is spilling all the details to Mia about the living situation at Jay's place. Mia is wide-eyed, completely stunned that Jay and Minu are actually close enough to be roommates. Yuna teases that the boys must have really fallen for each other. Flustered, Mia begs her to stop joking before rumors start flying. Shifting gears, Yuna slyly suggests moving their weekend student council meeting to a cafe. Mia loves the idea but hesitates. Will Jay actually show up? Yuna smirks. If enough girls gang up and pressure him, he won't have a choice. Blushing furiously, Mia softly agrees. Yuna winks, reminding her that she is playing wingwoman just for her. The master plan. The group will strategically dip out early, leaving Mia and Jay completely alone. Mia's face turns beet red as she stammers that they really don't need to go this far. Yuna just pats her head affectionately, wondering why she is always holding back. She reassures Mia that Jay is a solid guy, so everything will turn out perfectly. Suddenly, Dom eavesdrops on the plan and eagerly chimes in. He begs Yuna to let him crash the meeting too. Yuna shoots him a weird look, asking why a non-council member wants to be there. Dom puffs out his chest, declaring he can be her personal assistant. Unimpressed, Yuna calls him an idiot and tells him to go take a nap. Dom tries his luck again, asking her out for a zombie movie tomorrow, but she flat out tells him to get lost. Over by the window, Mia catches sight of Jay and Minu rolling into the school gates on their bikes. Feeling inspired by the perfect weather, Mia wonders out loud if she should buy a bike too. Yuna instantly supports the idea. It is the perfect excuse. She could buy one and ask Jay to teach her how to ride. Dom proudly declares he is buying a bike soon too, but Yuna coldly says she literally does not care. Just then, Minu casually strolls down the hallway with his heavy bike resting on his shoulders, and the girls wave hello. Inside the classroom, a group of guys are laughing over an adult magazine. Suddenly, a girl snatches it right out of their hands, scolding them for bringing that trash to school. The main boy whines, claiming that magazine is the ultimate guide to their non-existent love lives, and demands it back. But she stands her ground proudly, stating she is just doing her duty as class monitor. Got a problem with that? Yep, even the biggest troublemakers are helpless against the mighty class monitor. Just then, the boy notices Minu hauling his bike straight into the classroom. He looks totally confused and asks why it is inside. Minu defends himself, saying this baby is way too expensive to just leave parked outside. The boy asks for the price tag, and his jaw practically hits the floor when he hears the number. He thinks Minu is messing with him. Seriously, what kind of lunatic drops that much cash on a bicycle? Minu sighs, muttering that it is literally his only valuable possession left. He might even have to sell it soon just to survive. Hearing this, the boy gets excited and asks for a quick test ride. But the moment he steps up to the bike, his ego gets completely crushed. The seat is literally taller than he is. Devastated by his short height, he runs away crying and dramatically slumps over to a girl's desk, begging her to bring him some milk so he can grow. She just pats his back in pity and agrees to fetch him some. Meanwhile, Jay is minding his own business walking to class when Yuna intercepts him. She has a very specific agenda for the upcoming student council meeting. She casually drops that everyone voted to hold this week's session at a cozy coffee shop. What is his take on it? Jay looks at her like she is crazy and asks if she is serious. But before he can even argue, Yuna ruthlessly cuts him off. The decision is final. She will text him the address, and that is that. Later on, Yuna regroups with Mia, proudly announcing that the trap is set. Jay is officially in, so she absolutely needs to dress to kill for this pseudo-date. Cut to Mia's bedroom, where she is frantically tearing through her wardrobe for the perfect outfit. Her phone rings. It is Yuna checking if she is ready to go. Mia panics and promises she will be out the door in just a few minutes. Over at Jay's place, Minu is having the most pathetic weekend ever, just rotting in bed. He stares at the ceiling, questioning his life choices. No money, no plans, zero fun. He peers out the window, boiling with jealousy as a cute couple walks by. He even spots the dogs Kay and Jack chasing each other playfully. Great, even the dogs are having a better date than him. Suddenly, he spots Jay fixing up his outfit and asks where he is heading. Jay dryly states he is off to the student council meeting. Desperate for any kind of entertainment, Minyu begs to tag along. But Jay shoots him down cold. He is flying solo today. Throwing on his hoodie, Jay rolls his bike out. Minyu quickly shifts tactics, bargaining that he will guard the house like a pro. So could Jay at least bring back some ice cream? Jay just lets out a heavy sigh at the endless demands and pedals off. Over at the cafe, some random guy is laying the charm on incredibly thick with a girl. Miraculously, his cheesy lines actually work on her while everyone else in the room is just deeply cringing. Dom, who somehow crashed the meeting anyway, is happily stuffing his face, totally focused on how amazing the food is. Yuna shoots daggers at Dom, secretly wondering why this massive dork keeps following her around. Suddenly, a stunning girl walks up to the table. It is Mia, but she has totally ditched her glasses. She nervously smiles, noting they arrived way earlier than planned. Dom squints at her, completely confused, and asks out loud if they actually know this stranger. Mia just laughs, playfully offended by their dramatic reaction. The food literally falls out of Dom's mouth as his brain short-circuits. He cannot believe this gorgeous girl is actually Mia. Yuna beams, complimenting how drastically different she looks without the thick frames. Plus, her outfit is absolutely killer. Shyly tucking her hair back, Mia asks if she really looks that good. She finally gathered the courage to wear contacts today. Meanwhile, that same cheesy guy from earlier zeroes in on Mia, trying to hit her with his greasy pickup lines. Bad move. His actual date instantly kicks him under the table, furiously asking what he thinks he is staring at. A few tables over, a group of sketchy students from a rival high school is getting visibly annoyed, whispering about how loud and obnoxious these kids are. Their friend Vinny leans back with a bored expression. He groans that this place sucks and wonders if there is literally anything fun to do. One of his buddies nudges him, pointing out a group of guys who are intensely staring at him. Vinny locks eyes with the strangers and they immediately look away in fear. But they keep whispering loudly about his bizarre right eye, which is bright red. They figure it is just some cheap colored contact lens. Another guy snickers, joking that Vinny must be doing some weird cosplay, but in a split second, Vinny teleports right to their table. He casually picks up the loudmouth's coffee, takes a sip, and grimaces, complaining that it is way too bitter. The air turns ice cold. Vinny leans in dangerously close, asking if they have a problem with his eye color. He offers them a sick deal. How about they just rip his eye out and check for themselves? Terrified but acting tough. The boy stammers, asking what his deal is. Boom! Vinny instantly flips the entire table over in a fit of rage. Over at Dom's table, everyone jumps, wondering if a full-blown brawl just broke out. Vinny violently pins the boy down with his foot. Does he look like a joke to them? He aggressively rants that he despises spineless cowards who gossip behind people's backs. Without hesitating, he tilts the scalding coffee cup over the boy's head, mockingly telling him to finish his drink. The guy screams, desperately shielding his face with his arms as the hot liquid pours down. His friends are frozen in shock, screaming at Vinny, asking if he has completely lost his mind to do something so psycho. But before Vinny can do more damage, a massive hand suddenly grips his wrist. It is Dom. He towers over Vinny, his voice dead serious as he tells him to knock it off. The tension is incredibly thick. Vinny slowly lets go of the cup, letting it shatter on the floor. Panic erupts in the cafe as customers scream to call the cops before things turn deadly. Unfazed, Vinny violently smacks Dom's hat right off his head, daring him to step up. Just as Dom clenches his fist, Yuna's voice cuts through the chaos, fiercely ordering Dom to stand down and keep his hands to himself. Dom lets out a frustrated sigh, dropping his fighting stance. Onlookers are completely baffled by these crazy teenagers destroying a peaceful cafe. Sensing the trouble, Vinny's buddy nervously urges him to bounce before things spiral out of control. Vinny clicks his tongue in pure disrespect, turning his back on Dom. As he walks away, he throws a dark warning over his shoulder. They will definitely finish this somewhere a lot quieter. Dom calmly bends down, dusts off his hat, and puts it back on. He looks over at Yuna, proudly pointing out that he didn't throw a single punch this time. Impressed, Yuna gives him a genuine smile, praising him for holding back. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the airport, revealing a mysterious blonde named Shelly finally touching down in Korea. Heads turn as an absolute stunner struts down the street. One guy even risks his life for a quick peek, only for his furious girlfriend to yank him back, screaming at his wandering eyes. Nearby, some dudes spot her at 2 o'clock, completely mesmerized. Bro, is she a literal model or what they whisper? One of them seriously considers shooting his shot. His buddy instantly bursts his bubble, telling him to keep dreaming. But this cocky guy smirks, bragging that with his handsome face bagging a gorgeous foreign girl's digits is going to be a total breeze. Bet I'll buy our lunch today if you actually pull this off. His friend challenges secretly hoping this arrogant jerk finally gets the brutal rejection he deserves. Meanwhile, Shelley rolls her eyes, totally disgusted by all the creeps drooling over her. Ugh, this is exactly why she absolutely cannot stand men. Mr. Confident rolls up on his bicycle, tossing out a smooth French greeting to impress her. Shelley instantly shuts him down coldly, telling him to just speak English. Seriously, where did this massive weirdo even crawl out from? He lays the charm on thick, claiming he was just sipping coffee when a literal angel walked past, so he simply had to follow her. He flashes a smile, smoothly asking for her number. But just down the block, two sketchy guys on a scooter, one rocking an Iron Man helmet, are lurking. Target spotted the guy on the back, mutters. Their prey. The pretty blonde chick right in front of them. To them, she looks like a walking ATM packed with serious cash. Target locked, they rev their engine and zoom straight toward her. Back to the flirt, Shelley casually rattles off a completely fake phone number, glaring at him. Are we done here? She snaps. She literally tosses his phone right back at his chest and turns on her heel to leave. The clueless guy happily thanks her, promising to text her later. He smirks to himself, proudly thinking his glorious 99% success rate is still totally untouched. He truly believes no woman alive can resist his god-tier charm. But the second he checks the screen, his jaw drops. The numbers are totally gibberish. She played him like a fiddle. Suddenly, the roar of an engine cuts through the air and the scooter thugs violently snatch Shelley's purse from behind. The muggers laugh wildly, waving her designer bag in the air as they speed off. Furious, Shelley flips them the bird and screams at them to stop right now. Out of nowhere, Jay blurs past her on his bicycle like a freaking missile. She blinks, completely stunned by this mystery rider. Down the road, a tired construction worker is just chilling on his break when Jay swiftly grabs his yellow hard hat. Borrowing this for a sec, Jay shouts, instantly slapping the helmet onto his head as he pedals furiously. Meanwhile, back at a local coffee shop, the tired employees are scrubbing down tables, heavily sighing about how utterly disrespectful teenagers are these days. Watching them, a sweet girl feels incredibly guilty that these poor workers have to clean up someone else's mess. Her guy friend tries to act tough, bragging that he would have totally beaten those punks up just like his glorious elementary school days. The girls completely ignore his cringe flexing and turn to Dom, praising him for being so incredibly brave earlier. Dom rubs his neck nervously, admitting he wasn't actually planning to throw hands, he just wanted to spook them a little. Yuna bursts out laughing, teasing that Dom wasn't being brave at all. His brain was just totally empty. The group chuckles, but then Mia leans in. She softly mentions that there's something she has been dying to ask him for a while. Dom's heart skips a beat. What does she want to know? Oh my god, does she actually have feelings for him? But Mia simply points at his cheek and asks why he literally always wears that giant band-aid on his face. Is he hiding a massive badass scar or something? Dom instantly panics, sweating bullets. Why did they have to ask about this of all things? Yuna shrugs, saying it was only a matter of time before someone brought it up, especially since he looks completely ridiculous wearing it. Mia nods, eagerly admitting she is just way too curious now. They promise to keep it their little top-secret mystery. After endless begging and pleading, Dom finally caves. Fine, I'll show you, he heavily sighs, slowly peeling off the bandage. In his mind, his peaceful life is officially over. But as the band-aid drops, the girls gasp. Dom has a full-blown mustache. What the heck? How do you have a legit mustache when you're literally still in high school? The girl shrieks in shock. Dom proudly reveals his ultimate secret, a highly questionable hair growth lotion. Instantly, a desperate guy nearby begs him for just one tiny drop of that magical cream. No way in hell, man, Dom snaps, refusing to share even a drop. He had to scour the absolute depths of the black market just to find this stuff. Confused, one of the girls asks why on earth he is going through all this insane trouble just to grow a creepy stash. Dom leans in close, whispering his wild story. He has been helping out his dad with a crazy part-time job working as a legit DJ at an underground club. But since high school kids are strictly banned from those places, he desperately grew this facial hair to disguise himself as an adult. He slaps the band-aid on every morning just so the strict teachers won't bust him. Mia's eyes go wide. Wait, is that why you're basically in a coma during class every single day? She asks. Another girl frowns, wondering what kind of shady work his dad actually does to make his own teenage son pull those crazy shifts. Dom gulps, nervously muttering that his old man simply manages an organization. Suddenly, the scene violently shifts to the airport where a terrifyingly powerful man steps out instantly, greeted by dozens of scary dudes, bowing in absolute respect. Back at the cafe, Dom violently facepalms, suddenly remembering his mob boss dad is actually flying back to Korea today. Oh, so your dad is like A civil servant or government guy? The sweet girl asks, completely clueless. Dom awkwardly laughs, sweating as he agrees that, yeah, she could definitely say it like that. Feeling the tense vibe, Mia quickly jumps up and offers to grab everyone another round of coffee. Meanwhile, a mysterious photographer chilling at the corner table secretly snaps a gorgeous, candid photo of Mia. He checks the screen and smiles, clearly impressed. Cut back to the absolute chaos on the streets. Jay is pedaling like a total madman, relentlessly hunting down the purse snatchers. Up ahead, the thug gleefully cheers, shouting that they just hit the absolute jackpot. Suddenly, he glances back and spots a crazed kid trailing them on a freaking pedal bike. He violently slaps his buddy's shoulder, screaming at him to floor it. What kind of absolute psycho chases a roaring motorcycle with a literal toy? Bike, he howls, laughing hysterically at Jay's pathetic attempt. There is no way in hell a cyclist is ever catching up to a motorized engine. Jay's eyes narrow as he watches the thieves take a sharp right turn. Without missing a beat, he yanks his handlebars, diving straight into a cramped, sketchy alleyway for a massive shortcut. He blasts through the shadows, his eyes locking onto a parked car sitting right next to a giant brick wall. He pedals furiously, using the car's hood as a literal ramp to launch himself straight up onto the narrow ledge. Balancing with godlike precision, he flawlessly rides along the top of the dangerous wall. Down below, a group of kids, playing street soccer, completely freeze. One boy accidentally kicks his ball sky high as their jaws drop, watching a dude surf a brick wall on 2 wheels. Bro, are we watching an episode of Attack on Bicycle right now? They gasp. The kids go absolutely wild, screaming and cheering at how freaking awesome this guy is. Meanwhile, oblivious to the airborne threat, the thief sighs in relief, smirking that they finally ditched the annoying kid. The Iron Man driver scoffs, mocking how incredibly brain-dead you have to be to race a motorcycle with pedal power. But right above them, Jay closes in, locking his death stare on his prey. Gotta admit that brat was persistent. Actually had me sweating for a hot second, the thug chuckles. Up ahead, some kids are happily licking their ice cream cones, completely minding their own business. Suddenly, their eyes bulge out of their skulls as a literal teenager on a bike launches himself right off the massive wall. Boom! Jay violently dive bombs straight into their motorcycle. The metal crushes together as all 3 of them are sent flying, crashing brutally into a massive pile of cardboard boxes. The little boy drops his ice cream, trembling as he mutters that it literally looked like a bicycle just fell from the heavens. Dude, do you think they're dead? His friend stammers. But suddenly, the boxes rustle, and Jay slowly rises from the wreckage. The battered thieves groan in pain, whining that their precious scooter is totally wrecked. But as Jay steps forward, his massive, terrifying shadow swallows them whole. Panic sets in. The thugs scramble to their feet and sprint for their lives, screaming that this crazy kid is an absolute psycho. Once those cowards are long gone, Jay silently bends down and dusts off the stolen designer purse. Just minutes later, a screeching taxi pulls up and Shelley rushes out, her eyes widen in pure shock as she frantically asks if he is all right. Jay calmly pulls down the yellow hard hat to hide his bleeding forehead and silently holds out the recovered bag to her. Shelley is absolutely freaking out, insisting they need to drag him to the emergency room right this second. But Jay just stoically lifts his battered bicycle and mutters that he's completely fine. How the hell are you fine? You literally have blood pouring down your face, she screams in disbelief. Before she can grab him, Jay's phone violently buzzes, and he answers the call. Seeing him busy, Shelley hesitantly steps back, not wanting to bother this intense mystery guy any further. On the phone, Jay flatly explains that he got into a messy accident. Yuna's voice instantly spikes with worry as she begs to know if he is severely hurt. After hanging up, Yuna lets out a massive, disappointed sigh. She turns to the cafe group, gloomily announcing that Jay wiped out on his bike. He said he totally can't make it today. So our whole hangout is postponed, she groans. Mia's face instantly drops, anxiously asking if Jay is seriously injured. Yuna shrugs helplessly, guessing he probably isn't on his deathbed, since his voice sounded pretty chill, but honestly, he barely gave her any details. One of the salty guys instantly rolls his eyes, scoffing that Jay is definitely just making up lame excuses to ditch them, but Yuna fiercely defends him, snapping that Jay absolutely isn't that kind of flaky guy. Trying to kill the awkward tension, one of the girls suggests they should all just chill here a bit longer before heading home. But Mia's entire mood is completely shattered now that she knows Jay isn't showing up. Forcing a weak smile, she mutters that she needs to hit the restroom for a sec. Standing alone by the sinks, she sighs heavily. Without him here, this entire meetup feels completely and utterly pointless. She steps back out, silently praying that Jay is actually okay. Suddenly, the creepy but stylish photographer from earlier blocks her path. He flashes a bright smile, introducing himself as CJ, a professional fashion artist for a massive magazine. Mia awkwardly clutches her hands nervously, squeaking out a quiet hi. CJ smoothly hands her a sleek business card, excitedly telling her she has the perfect, stunning look to become a professional model. He pitches an upcoming photo shoot, telling her she is more than welcome to drop by if she is interested. Take your time, no pressure, just hit me up by next week if you're comfortable, he smiles. Eventually, the whole cafe squad decides to pack it up and call it a day. Walking home, Yuna visibly pouts, whining about how incredibly tragic it is that Jay bailed on them today. She literally spent hours trying to look perfectly cute, just for him. Mia pats her shoulder, telling Yuna to cheer up. Meanwhile, Dom is practically floating on cloud nine, feeling like the luckiest guy on earth just because he got to sip coffee next to Yuna all morning. Noticing the card in her hand, Yuna curiously asks what that weird photographer dude was blabbering to Mia about earlier. Mia slowly holds up the fancy business card, quietly explaining that the guy is actually from a huge fashion magazine, and he literally scouted her to be a model. Yuna snatches the card, her eyes bulging out of her head in pure, unadulterated shock. "Oh my god, Mia, this is literally one of the most famous magazines in the country," she shrieks. Meanwhile, back at Jay's quiet house, little Mino is slumped on the couch, mindlessly watching TV. He sighs, groaning about how staying locked up inside is just so incredible. The camera cuts to Jay pushing his violently mangled bicycle into a grimy local bike shop. He pushes the door open and firmly asks for the main mechanic. A cool grease-stained girl pops up from behind the counter, shooting him a welcoming smile. Jay gruffly mentions that he needs some serious repairs on his ride. The girl squints, her eyes widening as she instantly recognizes him from the underground racing scene. "Wait, don't you remember me?" She laughs, explaining that she was the one who actually filmed his intense final race. Seeing his bloody forehead, she immediately grabs a medical kit and patches him up like a total pro. "They're all done," she smiles. But Jay stares at her bluntly, stating that he didn't come here to play doctor, he needs his bike fixed. Harry the mechanic lets out a low whistle. "Well, you really did a number on it this time, dude. Your fork and front wheel are absolutely annihilated." Harry can't believe it. Did he seriously wreck his bike, chasing down purse snatchers just to help some random girl? This kid is unbelievable. Meanwhile, Jay's attention drifts to a framed photo on the wall. It's his uncle. Memories flood back to when he was just a little kid glued to the TV screen watching this absolute legend dominate the cycling world. In the flashback, his uncle asks a simple question, "What's your ultimate dream?" Little Jay immediately answers that he wants to be a doctor. But his uncle sees right through it, gently pointing out that it isn't Jay's true dream, it's just his parents' expectation. He pushes harder, asking what Jay actually wants out of life. Young Jay just shrugs. He's got nothing. He's just a student whose only purpose is to study exactly like his parents ordered. His uncle smiles. Sure, hitting the books matters, but if Jay ever discovers something he truly excels at, he needs to chase it with everything he's got. Confused, Jay flips the question back at him. "What about your dream?" His uncle's eyes light up. He wants to stand at the absolute peak above everyone else in the world. And he did just that. He crushed his race, proving that the impossible was just a word. On the old TV, the announcer loses his mind. A Korean cyclist just took home gold in the finals for the very first time. But the moment is cut short, as Jay's mom snaps at him to do his homework, forcing him to kill the TV. Even so, young Jay's heart is pounding out of his chest. His uncle actually did it. Snapping back to reality, Harry breaks the silence, asking if Jay recognizes the guy in the photo. She starts geeking out, explaining how he's a national icon who swept first place in countless races, even conquering the international stage. To anyone on two wheels, this guy is an absolute god. Every cyclist dreams of reaching his level. She presses Jay again. "Do you know him?" Jay's response is deadpan. "He's my uncle." Harry's jaw drops. She knew it. She reveals that Jay's beat-up bike is actually the exact same one his uncle rode before going pro. Riders always name their bikes, and his uncle's signature is right there on the frame. Surprised, Jay asks how she knows all this. Harry proudly declares herself his biggest superfan. She then turns her attention back to the trashed bike, letting out a heavy sigh as she assesses the damage. It's going to take a solid 2 days to rebuild. Jay nods, turning to leave, but Harry stops him dead in his tracks. She holds up a slick flyer asking if he's got the guts to enter a local event. It's the League of Street tournament happening this month, and it is going to be massive. The grand prize, a sweet $100,000 in cash, and a golden ticket to the international stage. She asks if he's down to race. Jay's answer, a flat cold no. Harry doesn't give up easily, telling him the offer still stands if he changes his mind. He could even form a crew with his buddies, but Jay isn't having it. He shuts her down, stating he's got huge exams next month. He simply doesn't have the time to play around. Harry just smiles, telling him she'll catch him later. Cut to Jay walking home. He reaches into his pocket for his wallet but grabs empty air. Panic sets in slightly as he pats down his clothes and digs through his backpack, but it's completely gone. It hits him he must have dropped it during the chaos earlier. The camera shifts to a gorgeous blonde girl, Shelley. She's smirking as she holds Jay's missing wallet, flipping open his student ID. Suddenly, the door bursts open. It's her grandfather storming in with dramatic flair, crying out for his precious princess. He dramatically whines about how much he missed her, but Shelley ignores the waterworks. She looks him dead in the eye and asks for a massive favor. She wants to transfer to a specific high school immediately. Bam! The scene cuts to school where Minu takes one look at Jay's battered face and freaks out. "Dude, did you get run over?" Minu asks. Jay just nods. Minu sighs, wondering how his friend manages to nearly get himself killed on a daily basis. He looks around and notices the missing wheels, asking where the bike is. Jay casually mentions it's sitting at a repair shop. Minu winces. "So, it's completely busted," Jay confirms. Minu pats his shoulder, acting super sympathetic that Jay's grounded from riding. But then it suddenly clicks in Minu's brain. Wait, does this mean he has to bike to school all by himself starting tomorrow? He rolls his eyes, asking if Jay was literally sleeping at the handlebars. Fast forward to the next morning at school. The gang crowds around Jay's desk. Dom heavily slaps an arm around his shoulder, loudly asking if he's still in one piece. He announces that the whole crew was stressed when they heard about the crash, especially Mia. Right on cue, Mia storms over and clamps a hand over Dom's loud mouth. Blushing slightly, she tells Jay she's just relieved he didn't break any bones. Yuna chimes in, wanting all the juicy details about what went down on his way to the cafe. But Jay stays icy. He brushes them off, saying it's nothing to worry about. He pulls out a textbook and tells them to get lost, he has to study. Suddenly, the homeroom teacher strolls in, ordering everyone back to their desks. Dom immediately groans, complaining that it's technically still break time. Yuna smacks his arm, guessing there must be some special announcement. The teacher claps his hands loudly, demanding total silence. He clears his throat. Starting today, their class is getting a brand new exchange student. Whispers instantly erupt across the room. Is it a foreigner? The guys cross their fingers, desperately praying it's a cute girl. The teacher gets a little flustered, blushing as he signals the new student to enter. The door slides open and in walks Shelley, rocking a slightly edgy, rule-breaking uniform. The boys absolutely lose their minds, howling that an actual goddess just walked into their boring lives. The teacher explains she just moved straight from England, deciding to transfer out of nowhere. She'll be hanging with them for the semester, so they better treat her right. Shelley flashes a confident smile, introducing herself and mentioning she's obsessed with traveling and cycling. Hearing that, the classroom erupts into pure chaos. The boys are screaming, convinced an actual angel just dropped from the sky. Yuna crosses her arms, completely convinced that every single guy around her is just another pathetic loser. Dom admits Shelley is a total knockout, but in his eyes, Yuna is the only girl who matters. Meanwhile, our boy Jay is totally zoned in, burying his face in his textbooks and completely tuning out the absolute chaos around him. But Shelley, her eyes lock right onto Jay, a smirk playing on her lips. She finally found her guy. Out in the hallway, the security guard takes a casual stroll, wondering what all that massive uproar is about. He glances over and catches the principal, literally spying into the classroom. Inside, the students are completely losing their minds over how insanely gorgeous the new girl is, while the principal fumes, wondering why these teenage wolves are staring at his precious Shelley like a piece of meat. The guard taps the principal, checking if he's doing okay. Back inside the room, the teacher tries to assign Shelley a desk, but she just brushes right past him. "I'll pick my own seat," she declares with total confidence. Scanning the room, she spots nothing but a sea of dorks until her eyes land on Jay, still buried in his books. She strides right up to his desk, leans in and out. The entire classroom freezes. Jaws hit the floor. A second later, absolute chaos erupts. Students lose their minds, screaming about how a total nerd like him actually scored a kiss from Times Her. The guys in the back start whining, practically begging for one too. Out in the hallway, the principal is literally scratching the walls. His nails drag down the paint as he watches the whole thing go down. What on earth is happening between them? Times he panics, fuming over how that kid dared to touch his precious Shelley. The commotion is so loud that kids from other classrooms are spilling out just to watch the drama unfold. He gasps, muttering that his sweet Shelley never even looked twice at boys before. So how is this even possible? The shock is just too much to handle. His eyes roll back and he collapses, leaving the security guard scrambling to catch him before he hits the floor. Even the homeroom teacher is in tears, wailing about them bringing this kind of scandal into a sacred school. But Jay, he just calmly wipes his cheek. He stares right at her and asks why she did that. Shelley flashes a smirk, casually mentioning she never got a proper chance to thank him for saving her purse from those street thugs. Tossing him his wallet, she points out he dropped it earlier. Then she pivots. She locks eyes with the poor kid sitting right next to Jay and calls him out. With zero hesitation, she asks him to pack up and move, making it clear she wants that exact seat. The guy stammers for a second but quickly surrenders his desk. He nervously jokes that it would be super rude for a lonely single guy like him to stand in the way of true love. Meanwhile, from across the room, Yuna's eyes narrow. Is this it time, she thinks? Did Jay ditch their meeting just for this random chick? Poor Mia just watches her entire world crumble as her ultimate crush is stolen right in front of her eyes. Cut to the hallway where June is peacefully strolling along, totally engrossed in a cycling tournament poster. Out of nowhere, times whoosh times Minu and another guy blow right past him, loudly cursing Jay's name. Startled, June calls out, asking if that was him and where the heck they're rushing off to. Minu barely slows down, yelling back that there's a brand new foreign exchange student in their class. June tries to stop him, saying he actually has something important to share, but Minu totally brushes him off. No time, man, he shouts. That sneaky bastard Jay just kissed a blonde angel and the whole school is losing its mind, June just sighs. He figures Minu is way too caught up in stupid high school drama and decides to save his news for later. After all, he's got bigger things on his mind. He knows the legendary Monster 13 is entering this tournament, so he's gearing up to join the fray himself soon. Back in the classroom, Minu and his buddy burst through the door completely out of breath. Where is that four-eyed traitor, Minu demands. By now, the rest of the guys are practically dogpiling Jay, aggressively accusing him of faking the innocent bookworm act this whole time. They swear he must have been secretly hiding dating guides behind those textbooks. With pitchforks raised, the boys declare Jay public enemy number one. Meanwhile, completely ignoring the riot, the girls flock around Shelley, totally obsessed and gushing over her flawless blonde hair. The crowd keeps pressing her on exactly how she knows Jay. Out of nowhere, Minu crashes the scene, smoothly introducing himself as the guy from Class 3. Meanwhile, Shelley glares at them, wondering who these absolute weirdos are, and practically begging the universe for them to just get lost. Minu slides right up to Jay, giving him a heavy pat on the shoulder. With a sly grin, he asks Mr. Popular for a quick private word. But Jay shuts him down cold, flat out stating he's tied up and brushing him off for later. Not taking no for an answer, Minu aggressively grabs Jay by the arm and drags him away for a quick chat. Shelley watches her knight in shining armor get pulled away, completely swooning. Once they are alone, Minu smirks. He admits he never expected Jay to make a move on a girl this fast, demanding to know exactly how long they have been a couple. Jay shoots him a deadpan look, stating bluntly that they are not dating. Minu's jaw drops. Is he kidding right now? Then how does he explain locking lips with that blonde-haired goddess? He is absolutely losing his mind over the fact that a quiet nerd like Jay beat him to kissing a girl first. Jay fires back, defending himself by claiming she just ran up and planted one on him out of thin air. Minu isn't buying it. If she kissed him for zero reason, how could Jay keep his mouth shut when they have been living under the same roof lately? Wait. Minu freezes. He just realized he totally let the wrong secret slip. The surrounding students gasp in shock. Did they hear that right? Living together instantly, the rumor mill starts spinning. The girls start whispering wildly, guessing if Minu is actually into guys, and he is only picking a fight because Jay broke his heart. The guys instantly cringe. Rooming with that massive nerd, gross Minu scrambles to clear his name, swearing it's all just a huge mix-up. But the damage is done. The rumor mill is already spinning out of control. One guy spots a golden opportunity, desperate to splash the drama all over the school news. But when he creeps up behind Shelley, taking a weird sniff of her hair, she instantly clocks him with a swift punch. Brushing it off, she realizes Jay is actually a pretty big deal around here. Meanwhile, Dom is totally offended. After all that brotherly bonding, how could they just leave him in the dust? Over in the classroom, Mia suddenly jolts up from her desk. Yuna asks what's wrong, but Mia stays completely silent, slipping out the door and drifting down the quiet hallway. As she walks, dark memories flood her mind. Flashback to middle school, a group of mean girls cornering her, violently crushing her glasses under their shoes. They mocked her relentlessly, calling her four eyes and a pathetic, dirty loser before shoving past her like she was nothing. But right then, Jay stepped out of nowhere. He casually asked for her prescription. When Mia sniffled and mumbled, -1, Jay simply slid his own glasses right onto her face. Close enough, he muttered. You should be able to see now. Stunned, she thanked him, but wondered how he was going to see. Without missing a beat, Jay pulled out a backup pair, explaining he breaks his frame so often that he always keeps a spare. Mia smiles at the memory. She's known Jay since back then. He was never the type to wear his heart on his sleeve. But beneath that cold exterior, he was the kindest guy she'd ever met. That exact moment, that's when she fell for him. She desperately wants to confess her feelings, but the deep scars from all that relentless bullying keep her locked in fear. Later that evening, Jay is just trying to walk home in peace. Suddenly, Minu jogs up, calling him a total nerd. Jay instantly rolls his eyes, deeply annoyed. But Minu shoves a crumpled flyer in his face, the exact same poster June left on his desk earlier. The grand prize. A massive $100,000 plus a golden ticket to the international stage. Minu is practically vibrating with excitement. He begs Jay to form a crew with him. Since running away from home, Minu is dead broke, making this massive payout his absolute last hope. Jay shoots him an icy glare. Not interested. Leave me alone. Minu refuses to drop it, hyping up the fact they could get famous and end up on national TV. He tries every angle to hype him up, but Jay just keeps shutting him down with a flat, emotionless no. Across the street, Shelley spots Jay heading home and is just about to yell out his name. Suddenly, a hand clamps over her mouth. It's her overprotective grandfather. "Where do you think you're going, sweetheart?" he asks. She nervously stammers about hanging out with a friend, but her grandpa isn't having it. He drags her away, insisting she spend some quality time at home for once. "No, please, I want to go with Jay," Shelley whines, begging to be let go. Meanwhile, back at Jay's place, Minu is still stubbornly pitching the crew idea, promising he'll fix his bike soon. "Drop it," Jay snaps, completely fed up. But right then, a sports broadcast flashes on the TV highlighting the upcoming cycling tournament. The legendary Sang-ho Choi is hosting the event. Minu's eyes go wide, realizing the Korean cycling champ is heavily involved. On screen, Sang-ho announces that the ultimate winners will earn the right to face him directly in the final stage. Just as it gets good, little K snatches the remote. "Who cares about this boring stuff?" he groans. It's time for his favorite cartoon, Cats. Minu scowls, calling the kid a little brat and fighting to get the remote back. While they angrily bicker in the background, Jay's eyes are glued to the screen. The interviewer brings up a sensitive topic, the tragic accident of Mahon, claiming that if he were still alive, he definitely would have competed. Sango's face turns cold. He cruelly dismisses Mahon as a total fraud, claiming he only died because he got caught doping in his final race. Hearing this, Jay's heart drops. Flashbacks hit him hard. He knows his uncle Mahon would never cheat like that. Sang-ho callously adds that the doping scandal would have ended Mahon's career anyway. He gives a self-righteous speech about how cheating taints the sport, praying they never see another rider like him again. Trembling with sheer rage, Jay fiercely grips his towel. "What an absolute loser," he snarls. Minu and Kay freeze, completely taken aback by his sudden intense anger. Staring daggers at the TV, Jay firmly declares, "I'm entering that tournament." Cut to later that night, the newly formed squad regroups at the local park. June looks right at him, double-checking if he's actually serious about competing. "Yeah, I'm in," Jay replies coldly. Minu tilts his head, noticing Jay's unusually dark, silent mood. "What's wrong? Getting cold feet?" Minu teases. But our boy isn't backing out. His mind is boiling over with every toxic word that Sango bastard spewed about his uncle. June smiles warmly, admitting he has no idea what changed Jay's mind, but he is genuinely hyped to ride alongside him. But right now, June points out, we're too short-staffed to even call ourselves a crew. Minu grits his teeth, warning them that those Zephyrus punks are definitely entering too. "If we run into them, I'm personally kicking their asses," he vows. June lightly pats him, telling him to just chill out. "The past is the past. We can't change it," June reasons. Changing the subject, Minu aggressively pitches that they need a badass name for this new team. June nods in agreement, looking at the guys to see if anyone has a killer idea ready to go. The trio stands around, racking their brains. Minu's face lights up. "How about the super cool crew?" he shouts confidently. Jay instantly shuts him down with a deadpan stare. "That sounds childish." June nervously chuckles, totally agreeing with Jay. But Minu just starts rapid-firing garbage ideas. Tiger Crew, Big Giant Crew, oh wait, Ultra Crew. Jay heavily sighs, begging him to stop tossing out these ridiculously trash names. Sensing the rising tension, June calmly suggests they just call it a night and brainstorm again tomorrow at school. Jay groans, questioning his life choices and how he ended up on a team with this total dimwit. Unfazed Minu doubles down, swearing they need something intensely manly, like Super Cool Crew. "Just stop," Jay sighs, completely over it. The next morning in English class, the teacher is lecturing away, but our guy Minu is completely zoned out. He is aggressively scribbling in his notebook, sweating bullets. Coming up with a sick crew name is literally the hardest his brain has ever worked. Once the bell rings, the trio regroups for naming duty. Jay peeks at Minu's notepad and looks absolutely disgusted. "Are these seriously the best you could do all night?" Minu crosses his arms triumphantly. "Yep, looks like Super Cool Crew is our only option, guys." Jay glares at him. "I'd rather die than use a stupid name like that." Feeling insulted, Minu snaps back. "All right, Mr. Smartass, what brilliant idea do you have?" Jay shrugs. "Literally anything except super cool." Off to the side, June quietly remembers how Minu only named their last crew Zephyruses because he obsessed over some cheesy anime. Suddenly, Shelley bounces over, peeking into their circle. "What are you guys plotting?" she asks Jay. The second she finds out they're putting together a cycling crew, her eyes light up. Oh my god, can I join too? Jay and Minu just stare at her, completely caught off guard. June hesitantly steps in, gently warning her that street racing might get a bit too rough and dangerous for a girl. But Minu instantly shifts into flirt mode. Are you kidding? A gorgeous girl like you is always welcome on my team. Minu flexes, bragging that she just needs to pedal while he handles all the heavy lifting. But hey, do you actually know how to ride? He smirks. Shelley gives him a confident, sassy smirk right back. Honey, I ride circles around you. Meanwhile, back in the classroom, Yuna gently nudges Mia, asking why she's been so gloomy since yesterday. Mia forces a weak smile. It's nothing. I just feel a bit off. Suddenly, Dom kicks the door open, blasting a loud hip-hop track to hype everyone up. Yuna instantly glares at him. Mia feels sick. Take your obnoxious music and screw off Dom. Back out in the courtyard, Minu dramatically pitches a new crew name. The goddess and her boy toys. June rubs his temples, realizing Minu's IQ actually drops into the negatives whenever a pretty girl is around. Just then, Dom happens to look out the window and spots their little gathering. Dom storms out, deeply offended. Why are you guys having a secret meeting without me? I thought we were brothers after what went down in Jay's bedroom. Shelley's jaw drops as she slowly turns to the guys. Wait. What exactly did you guys do in his bedroom? Watching Shelley joke around with Jay from a distance, a sharp sting of jealousy hits Mia. Unable to watch, she turns quietly and walks away. Yuna calls out, worried if she's all right. Fast forward to the afternoon, the newly expanded crew is chilling on the school rooftop, taking in the city view. Minu gives Dom a confused look. Dude, why are you still following us? Dom puffs out his chest, proudly declaring he's joining their racing team. Minu raises an eyebrow. Okay. Do you even own a bike? Dom scratches his head, muttering that he was planning to order one from some shady online site. Yeah, we'll talk when you actually have wheels, Minu snorts. Shifting focus, June softly suggests Sunny Crew since they all go to Sunny High. Minu cringes hard. Dude, that sounds way too cheesy. Shelley bursts out laughing, brutally honest. You guys seriously suck at naming things. Little do they know, the strict school principal is creeping behind the rooftop door, spying directly on his precious granddaughter, Shelley. He furiously grits his teeth. Why is she hanging around that delinquent kid again? But as he watches her laugh, he softens. He hasn't seen her smile this brightly in years. Suddenly, a massive flying bug buzzes right into Dom's face. Both Dom and Minu let out a high-pitched scream, totally panicking. Holy crap, it's a hummingbird, Minu yells, diving for cover. June casually shakes his head. We barely have hummingbirds in Korea, man. That's definitely a hawk moth. June explains that people constantly mistake them because of how they hover. Hummingbirds are actually known to flap their wings 90 times a minute, he adds factually. Minu's jaw practically hits the floor at that insane stat. His mind immediately goes to biking. He imagines furiously pumping his pedals 90 times a minute, dude. If we spun that fast, we'd smoke a motorcycle. Minu's eyes sparkle with realization. Wait, what if we pedal as fast as a hummingbird? June and Shelley exchange a look. Hummingbird, they murmur, testing the sound of it. Dom looks around, totally lost. Why is everyone humming right now? Meanwhile, across the city, fierce competitors are eyeing the exact same tournament poster, preparing for absolute war. The terrifying Monster 13 is already gearing up. A mysterious girl takes a long drag of her cigarette, silently deciding to enter. Even some random cocky loser is bragging about crushing the competition with his precious bike. Up in his penthouse, TJ smiles. This tournament is going to be incredibly entertaining. Later that evening, Jay and Mia are stuck on classroom cleaning duty. Dusting the erasers, Mia nervously bites her lip. Hey, are you and Shelley actually dating? She blurts out. Jay stops, giving her a completely puzzled look. What are you even talking about? Mia quickly backpedals, explaining that the whole school is gossiping about him dating the pretty foreigner. We're definitely not dating, Jay groans. Who keeps spreading this crap? A massive wave of relief washes over Mia. Oh, no one, never mind, she says brightly. Smiling, she smoothly changes the subject, asking if he was really starting a racing crew earlier. Jay nods, confirming they're officially building a cycling team. Mia's eyes light up. That sounds so fun. Did you guys finally pick a name? Jay gives a small, confident smirk. Yeah. We're going with Hummingbird. Hummingbird. That actually sounds super cute. Mia chimes in. She asks the guys if they've cooked up a crew logo yet. If not, she'd totally be down to design one for them. Since she's dreaming of a career in design after graduation, this is right up her alley. Jay gives her a nod, genuinely thanking her for stepping up. Mia's cheeks flush red. Sweet, she beams. Jay tells the group it's time to pack up and head out, but Mia quickly stops him with one last question. She's planning to cop a bike soon and shyly asks if he'd teach her how to ride in his free time. Jay casually promises to help her out whenever he's open. Later, after school, Jay drops by the local bike shop. Harry greets him warmly, but Jay cuts right to the chase. He just wants to know if his ride is ready. Harry smirks, noting he showed up a bit later than she expected. Meanwhile, Dom arrives back home only to be dragged into a hangout by his dad. His old man tells him to grab a drink and sit down. Dom brushes it off, sighing that he's exhausted and has to work soon. His dad playfully complains, asking why he can't look even a tiny bit excited to see him. Throwing an arm around his son's shoulders, he fakes a pout and asks if Dom is pulling any girls at school. Dom snaps back, asking if he's lost his mind. He's definitely not interested in that stuff. His dad just chuckles, bragging that he wasn't nearly as stiff back in his day. He reminds Dom that you're only young once, so he better live it up. Then, shifting gears, he checks if anyone is giving him a hard time at school. Dom's uncle chimes in, telling his brother to leave the poor kid alone and just eat. Seizing the moment, Dom asks his dad to buy him a bike for some exercise. His dad raises an eyebrow, wondering where this sudden fitness kick came from. He turns to his underling, asking how much a bike runs for these days. The guy cluelessly guesses around $50 for a decent one. Taking his word for it, Dom's dad whips out his wallet, hands Dom $50, and tells him to pick out a sweet ride. Dom stares at the cash, completely dumbfounded. "Are you kidding me right now?" he mutters. Later, Dom is scrolling through the internet hunting for a bike. Every single one he clicks on costs an absolute fortune. What the heck is he supposed to do with $50? Even fake sneakers cost more than that. But just as he's about to give up, he spots a listing for a bike priced at exactly $100. It feels like the deal of the century, but there's a catch: zero pictures. Super sketchy. Dom's assistant nudges him, suggesting he just shoot the seller a text. Dom's heart races at the thought of lowballing a $50 discount. He bites the bullet and texts the guy, offering $50 cash right now. When the seller doesn't reply instantly, Dom gets paranoid about getting scammed. His assistant just laughs, promising they'll teach the guy a hard lesson if he tries anything funny. Suddenly, his phone buzzes with a reply. The seller assumes Dom is just a broke student and actually accepts the $50 offer. He drops his bank info and tells Dom to wire the cash immediately. Dom is practically glowing, thrilled to score a new ride for dirt cheap. Hummingbird crew, here he comes. Meanwhile, the shady seller is grinning, thinking he just squeezed some easy lunch money out of a clueless high schooler. Back at the shop, Harry asks Jay if his crew is entering the big tournament, telling him to go out there and make some killer memories. She firmly warns him to treat his bike with respect, especially since it belonged to his uncle. Fixing up those parts was no joke. His old front wheel was completely trashed, so she swapped it out for a slick aero wheel. It's made of carbon, shedding a ton of weight off his frame. It slices right through the wind, letting him hit crazy speeds, but crosswinds are going to make it super tricky to handle. Plus, one tiny crack and the whole thing shatters, so he better quit riding like a maniac. Jay asks for the damage, how much for the labor, and the parts. Harry waves him off. The aero wheel was just collecting dust in the back, so it's on the house. As for the repair fees, she tells him to pay up after he wins the tournament. She's cheering for them to take home the gold. He needs to win this for his uncle's honor, especially after the shadow left by that awful doping scandal. The scene cuts over to Vinny's place. The room is a total disaster zone, and his buddy groans, telling him to stop living in a pigsty. School let out ages ago, and he can't just sleep his life away. Vinny groggily asks for the time. "It's 8 p.m., man," Sung replies. He points out that Vinny skipped class and ghosted his calls all day, so he had to swing by and make sure he wasn't dead. Vinny's mom had left a sticky note begging him to clean his room and eat the leftovers in the fridge. Sung mentions she dropped by earlier that morning. Vinny just scoffs, crumbling the note, and asks how much cash they're working with. "Like, $10, Sung mutters. Vinny groans. What is he supposed to do with $10? That's barely enough for a pack of smokes and a couple of drinks. Sung warns him that their homeroom teacher is ready to expel him for all the absences. He seriously needs to show his face tomorrow. Vinny lets out a heavy sigh, cursing the school for being a massive pain in the neck. Cut to the next morning, the teacher is smacking Vinny around, screaming, asking if he thinks this school is his personal playground. He barks that Vinny will never graduate if he keeps acting like a total delinquent. Who the hell even shows up to class without a backpack? The teacher, fuming with rage, orders him to stand up. He shreds into Vinny for dragging the school's reputation through the mud. One more strike and he's permanently expelled. The guy even targets Vinny's dyed hair, calling him a stupid freak, and questioning how he even got enrolled. Vinny's fists clench as the teacher snarls that graduating him would be a stain on the school's legacy. Mid-rant, the teacher accidentally bumps into Sung. He glances up to see the quiet kid glaring daggers right back at him. Unnerved, the teacher brushes past, wondering what that punk's deal is. He walks off, muttering under his breath that garbage students shouldn't even be allowed on campus. Sung quietly asks Vinny if he's okay, but Vinny stays dead silent. Slowly looking up, Vinny catches a group of students whispering and staring. The second his eyes meet theirs, they panic and scramble back into their classroom. They know they're in deep trouble now. The school's top dog just locked eyes with them. Moments later, Vinny kicks their classroom door wide open. He growls, demanding the idiots who were staring out the window to step forward. The entire room freezes in terror, wondering who had a death wish messing with him. "Get over here while I'm being nice," Vinny warns. A trembling kid steps up, stammering an apology and claiming he was just looking outside. Without missing a beat, Vinny grabs a heavy chair and marches straight at him. He swings it hard, barking, "Who cares about your sorry?" The intense scene suddenly shifts over to Jay's school. Gossip is flying. A poster just went up spreading rumors that Mia and Jay are dating, while simultaneously claiming Shelley is Jay's real girl. A group of guys are secretly snapping pics of Shelley drooling over how hot she is. Shelley, meanwhile, is on a call with her dad. She tells him she's dying to hit the streets here and begs him to ship her bike over. She smiles, thanking him as he finally caves in to her request. Nearby, Dom is furiously mashing his phone screen, so angry he looks ready to smash his desk in half. That shady bike seller is completely ghosting his texts and calls. Watching him from afar, Yuna wonders why the big dork is glaring at his screen, looking so triggered. Right next to her, Mia is hyper-focused on sketching out the Hummingbird Crew's new emblem. Yuna leans in, asking why she's drawing through her lunch break. Mia whispers that she's perfecting a design. Intrigued, Yuna asks if she's making a logo for the guys. Yuna casually mentions that Minu and Jay scarfed down their food and bounced with their bikes. She asks Mia if she knows where they dashed off to. Mia figures they probably went to drop off the tournament application. "Wait, they're entering a competition together," Yuna asks, though she realizes it makes sense since they literally live under the same roof. Out of nowhere, Mia proudly announces she's finished, jolting Yuna wide awake. She holds up the logo and, honestly, it looks sick. The scene cuts to Jay and Minu loitering outside the post office. Jay shoots Minu a deadpan look, asking if he really had to drag him all the way down here just to mail a simple paper. Minu smirks, arguing that they're on the same team, so they move as a unit. "What, you wanted to sit in class while I did all the heavy lifting," he teases. Jay just sighs, telling him to drop it and hurry up so they stop wasting time. Minu tries to stretch the trip, suggesting they grab some grub before heading back. Jay coldly shoots him down, telling him to go eat by himself. Minu rolls his eyes, thinking about how stubborn this dude is. Zero compromises ever. Suddenly, his attention is caught by an absolute creep, obsessing over a bicycle nearby. The weirdo is actually petting his bike, calling it Sweet Senna-chan and cooing that he'll be right back. He literally kisses the metal frame, confessing his undying love. Pulling out a heavy chain, he whispers that he has to tie her up so nobody else can snatch her away. "It's gonna be a little rough, just bear with it," he mutters. Minu stares in pure horror. This freak is on a whole other level of weird. Just the thought of making out with an anime picture sends massive shivers down Minu's spine. Jay flatly announces it's time to bail, and Minu eagerly agrees they need to get the heck out of Dodge. But before they can escape, the weirdo snaps his head toward them. "What did you just say?" he snarls. Minu blinks, asking, you talking to us?" "Wait, did you just call my sweet Senna-chan?" "Stupid," he growls. "How dare this normie insult his precious waifu?" he snaps, calling Minu a piece of trash and demanding he take it back. Minu just scoffs, calling him a total otaku freak. But the otaku isn't playing around. He grabs Minu by the collar, screaming for an apology. Panic setting in, Minu shoots Jay a look begging for help. Jay's deadpan response, "Just apologize, dude. You started it." Left with no choice, Minu swallows his pride and mumbles that he takes it back. "Senna-chan is beautiful, okay," the otaku declares, finally letting go of Minu's shirt. He glares, warning him to keep his filthy eyes off his girl. Picking up his dropped envelope, he mutters about them, ruining his vibe for nothing. But Minu's eyes lock onto that envelope. It literally says Manga Crew right on it. Could this absolute weirdo actually be competing in the League of Streets? Adjusting his glasses like an anime villain, the otaku huffs that only he gets to call her by her first name. Then he marches into the post office, whispering a sweet "just wait a little longer" to his 2D girlfriend. Jay and Minu are just standing there completely speechless at what they just witnessed. After dropping off their mail, they hop back on their bikes and head to school. Minu is still fuming, complaining about how much that anime freak pissed him off. Jay shrugs it off, pointing out that Minu did trash talk the guy's girlfriend. Minu just cringes, wondering if that cartoon girl really is his girlfriend. "So freaking weird," he mutters. But suddenly, whoosh, some random kid blasts past them on his bike at breakneck speed. "Eat my dust, you slowpoke high school losers," the kid mocks, flexing his ride and telling them to admire his super cool bike from behind. Minu groans. Great, another total weirdo just spawned out of nowhere. Meanwhile, the scene cuts to Dom's henchman taking a very serious phone call. "Don't sweat it, boss. I have got it handled," he reassures Dom. He hangs up and immediately snaps his fingers to summon one of his goons. A lackey rushes over, eager to help. The henchman's face turns deadly serious. Some little punk just robbed our young master blind. Here is his phone number and the transaction ID. He orders the lackey to hire a Chinese hacker and track this kid down. The goon snatches the paper, smirking. Consider it done. Hunting down this rat will be a walk in the park. Our hacker buddy just breached the Korean credit card servers anyway. The boss gives a dark command the moment they pinpoint his location, round up the boys and grab the heavy tools. It is time to teach this little brat exactly how terrifying the real world can be. And as for Dom, oh, he is out for blood. Dom is absolutely fuming, realizing he fell for a pathetic internet scam. The second he gets his hands on that bastard, he is going to make him deeply regret who he messed with. But right in the middle of his murder fantasy, someone taps his shoulder. Dom snaps his head around, literal murder in his eyes, ready to bite someone's head off. The poor kid who tapped him instantly stutters, terrified by Dom's death glare. "Why, Yuna wants to see you for a sec," he squeaks out. The moment he sees Yuna waiting, Dom's scary aura completely vanishes, replaced by blooming imaginary flowers. "Wait, you wanted to see me," he gasps. He practically skips over to her, his arms wildly flailing, eagerly asking how he can be of service. Yuna rolls her eyes, telling him to chill out, and asking why he has been acting so broody all morning. She casually tosses him a piece of chewing gum. "Here, chew on this, stop complaining, and get some sugar in your system to cheer up." Dom is on cloud nine. To him, this is the greatest gift in human history. "I cannot believe she gave this to me," he fanboys. Feeling guilty for coming empty-handed, he nervously asks if she wants him to buy her something sweet too. Yuna just punches him in the arm. "Shut up and chew the gum, idiot." Cut to later that evening, where the cocky scammer from earlier is strolling home, loaded up with snacks and drinks. He is feeling pretty good about himself, thinking he totally earned a treat after swindling $50 out of some gullible kid. He laughs to himself, unable to believe some absolute moron thought he was actually selling his bike for $50. His grand plan: eat junk food, watch some soccer, and crash. But as he walks up the stairs, he stops cold. His front door is wide open. Did the landlord come sniffing around for rent, he wonders? Heart pounding, he creeps toward the open door, praying he didn't just get robbed. He slowly nudges it open, bracing himself for the worst. But what he sees inside is infinitely worse than a burglar. His living room is packed with terrifying thugs, all gripping heavy weapons, just waiting for him. Who the hell are these guys? He panics, his snacks slipping from his trembling hands and crashing to the floor. Next thing he knows, he is wrapped up in thick duct tape like a mummy, sobbing uncontrollably. The boss steps up, looking down at him with zero pity. "You picked a fight with the wrong kid. If you are going to play the scammer game, you better be ready to pay the price." He scolds the crying boy, furious that they had to waste their time dealing with a pathetic rat like him. "Consider that $50 your one-way ticket to hell," he sneers. "When the young master gets here, you had better start praying because you are getting buried alive." The boy just wails horribly, utterly convinced his fate is sealed. Right on cue, Dom struts into the room and the massive thugs instantly bow, greeting him as their young master. Dom walks right up to the tied-up scammer. The kid looks up confused. Wait, this scary gang boss is just a high schooler. Dom reaches deep into his pocket, and the scammer's heart stops, fully expecting him to pull out a switchblade. Instead, Dom pulls out that exact piece of gum Yuna gave him. "Man, this is so sweet," Dom sighs dreamily. It is not even banana-flavored, but it is still amazing. The scammer is just staring at him, absolutely bewildered. Meanwhile, Dom's assistant asks the golden question, "So, boss, what should we do with this little idiot?" But Dom is completely zoned out, still obsessing over Yuna's gum. He blinks, finally remembering why he came. "Wait, where is my bike?" He soon spots it casually parked in a corner. He walks over, inspecting it closely, completely amazed. "Whoa, this thing is basically brand new," he marvels, having no idea that finding a bike this good for $50 is literally impossible. The boy begs him not to do anything to his precious ride. But Dom ignores him, admiring how mint the condition is. Dom's assistant just scratches his head, super confused. Did something amazing happen to the young master? Just this morning, he was ready to commit a murder. Dom casually grabs the bike and helmet, declaring that he definitely will not be riding his old cycle anymore. "I got exactly what I came for," Dom says, pushing the bike toward the door. He tells his boys to just let the kid go. His assistant nods, saying, "All right." The boy cries in sheer relief, realizing he just barely escaped the Grim Reaper. The assistant scoffs, calling him a lucky bastard before ordering his boys to untie him. Oh wait, scratch that, they actually bury the kid up to his neck in the dirt right alongside his dropped food. A stray kitten starts munching on his fried chicken, and the kid weeps, accepting his doomed fate. Meanwhile, back at Jay's house, Minu is chilling in his room again. He hypes up something super cool he wants to show Jay, but Jay ruthlessly tells him to screw off. "I have an online class, shut up," Jay mutters, staring at his screen. Suddenly, Minu's ears perk up. He senses something right by the window. Jay just sighs, asking if Minu accidentally downloaded more crap on his computer again. Tap. A pebble hits the glass again. Dude, did you seriously not hear that? Minu asks, slightly creeped out. Jay barely looks up, brushing it off as a stray cat or something. Minu leans out the window and his jaw drops. It is Dom proudly showing off his shiny new ride. Blown away, Minu runs outside to take it for a spin. Holy crap, this thing kicks ass, he cheers. But as he looks closer, Minu realizes he has definitely seen this exact bike tearing through the streets before. Bro, this is high-end stuff. How much did you actually drop on this? He asks. Dom puffs out his chest, bragging that he completely haggled the guy down to $50 on a used site. Both Minu and Jay just freeze their minds, totally short-circuiting. Wait, $50? Dom looks at them confused. What did I pay too much for it? Minu stares at him in disbelief, asking if he literally assaulted the seller to get a price like that. Nah man, you got it for dirt cheap, Minu laughs. Dom just shrugs, claiming the owner happily handed it over because he just didn't need it anymore. Minu shakes his head. Wow, that seller is a freaking angel. You basically got this for free, Minu jokes and Dom happily nods in agreement. Meanwhile, our boy Jay is just standing there internally screaming that he really needs to get back to his studying. But Dom changes the subject, pointing at the bike. So, how do we actually ride this thing? He admits he was terrified to pedal it here because there are literally no brakes. Minu smirks, telling him he needs to practice his skidding. Mastering that technique is the only way he is going to survive riding a fixed-gear bike. What the heck is skidding? Dom asks, totally lost. Minu goes into expert mode, explaining that it is a braking technique where you use pure leg strength to stop after building up crazy speed. Basically, you pedal in the exact opposite direction to force a stop. Watch the master, Minu says, hopping onto the saddle for a quick demo. Minu executes a flawless, stylish skid and Dom's eyes light up like fireworks. Oh hell yes, I am trying that right now, he shouts. He tries to jam his foot into the pedal strap, grunting in frustration and wondering why it will not fit. He practically cries as his fresh Jordans get completely scuffed up. Minu cringes, suggesting he desperately needs to get some proper riding shoes first. Sneakers are terrible for this man. Slip-ons or canvas shoes would be way better. Dom finally manages to wedge his foot in and proudly announces he is going in for a test drive. He starts cranking the pedals, but almost instantly, a weird wave of sheer panic hits him. Wait, the bike isn't stopping, he yells. I feel like this thing is dragging me straight to hell, he screams. Minu shouts back, telling him to just skid like he showed him level out the pedals horizontally and slam them backward with everything he has got. Refusing to let a piece of metal humiliate him, Dom grits his teeth. I am not losing to a stupid bicycle, he roars, trying to throw all his weight backward. But nothing happens. It is not working, he shrieks. The pedals are spinning way too violently for his legs to handle. He frantically begs someone to save him because he physically cannot stop the bike alone. Watching him blast past Minu just awkwardly yells, where exactly are you going? Minu realizes he might have pushed things way too far, seriously doubting if Dom has a single athletic bone in his body. He figures a trip to the bike shop tomorrow to snag him some brakes is an absolute must. Fast forward to the next morning at school, and some girl is totally freaking out over a tiny pimple. Her friend just rolls her eyes, assuring her that literally no one is going to care. But she is obsessed with looking absolutely flawless for Minu. Another girl sighs, just hoping Minu will finally wake up and notice their massive crushes on him. Out of nowhere, some random dude totally ruins the vibe, brushing past the girls and actually lifting their skirts. Pink and white today, nice choice, he smirks. The girls clench their teeth in pure fury, screaming at the little creep. But this shameless punk just keeps going, pulling the exact same stunt on other girls while literally skateboarding down the school hallway. He casually muses to himself about how everyone happens to be wearing white today, the ultimate color of purity. Then his eyes lock onto Shelley sitting inside a classroom, and a huge creepy grin spreads across his face. He figures he should at least pop in and say good morning to her. But boom, the furious girls from earlier completely block his path. One threatens to shove him down a toilet like a human plunger, while another swears she is going to beat the living daylights out of him. Someone lands a solid punch, but the bruised kid just smirks, claiming he was only giving the readers exactly what they wanted. Hey, your sacrifice will definitely not go to waste, buddy. We thoroughly enjoyed the show. The furious mob of girls gangs up on him, ruthlessly stomping him into the ground. Meanwhile, safely inside the classroom, Mia reveals her new logo design, leaving everyone completely blown away. She nervously asks for their honest opinions. Minu immediately grabs Mia's hand, his eyes sparkling as he declares how much he absolutely loves it. It is officially going to be their new crew logo. Yuna harshly shoves Minu away, snapping at him for using the logo as a cheap excuse to hold Mia's hand. Minu defensively cries out, asking if she really thinks he is some kind of total creep. Shelley just ignores the drama, genuinely praising Mia's incredible talent for drawing. She politely asks if she can take just one more peek at the sketch, but Mia coldly shuts her down flat out, refusing to show it. Shelley frowns, annoyed, asking what her deal is. Minu sweats a little, wondering why the room's vibe just turned so incredibly awkward and tense. Trying to save the moment, he suggests they should just go ahead and print the design right onto their crew uniforms. He gives Jay a friendly pat on the back, asking if the ace approves of their new emblem. Jay gives a simple nod of approval, instantly making Mia light up with joy. She promises to finish up the final touches and send over the image file. Right on cue, Dom stumbles into the classroom, his legs wobbling like jelly as he weakly groans a "what is up?" Minu immediately connects the dots, guessing the big guy pushed way past his limits yesterday, leaving him practically crippled. A concerned Mia asks if he injured himself. Dom dramatically whines that he was out practicing his skids until the dead of night and now his legs are completely numb. Plus, that rock-hard bike seat left his butt incredibly sore. He nervously admits he desperately needs to install some brakes on that death trap. He was actually so terrified of crashing that he just walked the bike all the way to school. Minu raises an eyebrow, asking where he parked his ride, and if it is securely locked up. Dom confidently smirks, telling his buddy to chill because there is absolutely zero chance of it getting stolen. Why? Because Dom literally chained his bike to a massive, aggressive dog. Outside, a couple of guys are checking out the ride, totally amazed by how freaking awesome it looks and wondering who owns it. But the second they step closer, the beastly dog lets out a vicious growl, scaring the living daylights out of them. They stumble back, wondering what kind of absolute psycho uses a live dog as a bike lock. Well, that is our boy Dom for you, always delivering the most chaotic genius solutions. Meanwhile, Jay just sighs internally, deeply questioning why he is stuck on a team with such massive idiots. Mia shyly turns to Jay, asking if he could maybe teach her how to ride this weekend since she just bought a cute little mini velo. Yuna instantly backs her up, pointing out how insanely hard Mia worked on their awesome new logo. The absolute least Jay could do to repay her is offer a quick weekend riding lesson. True to his word, Jay casually agrees, reminding them that he always keeps his promises. Hearing that, Mia's face completely lights up with pure excitement. But Shelley totally crashes their cute little moment, sharply asking if Mia is trying to steal Jay away from her. Mia snaps back, asking what the heck she means by steal, like Jay is just some object you can claim. Shelley ignores the sass, confidently announcing that she is crashing their weekend plans. And then Dom, being the ultimate clueless third wheel, excitedly chimes in that he is definitely coming to practice too. Not wanting to be left out, Minu, our second completely clueless idiot, happily adds that he is totally free this weekend, making it a massive group hangout. Yuna just facepalms, utterly baffled by how brain-dead those two boys really are. Oblivious Minu looks around and asks where June went off to. Is that nerd actually grinding for the college entrance exams? Please, as far as June is concerned, those exams belong in the trash bin right now. He is totally glued to YouTube watching a mind-blowing video of monster biking at a ridiculous 87 kilometers per hour, rocking a heavy 5-point gear ratio. The guy is drafting right behind a speeding car to cut through the ride. Massive wind resistance. Before you know it, Monster easily hits an insane 97 kilometers per hour. The completely empty road is absolutely devoured by Monster's blistering speed. Up ahead, the driver casually waves a hand, signaling that they are finally going to slow things down. Breathing hard, Monster rips off his protective face mask and reaches down to grab his water bottle. The dude is just casually coasting after peaking at an absolutely terrifying 102 kilometers per hour. June just sits there, his jaw practically on the floor, after witnessing that freakish display of speed. Cutting over to the local bike shop, Harry is busy installing brand new brakes on Dom's front wheel, letting the big guy know his death trap is finally safe to ride. Dom immediately cheers up, grinning from ear to ear. Minu studies Harry, suddenly wondering if she is the exact same girl who live-streamed their intense race the other day. He asks if she seriously juggles streaming and running a whole repair shop. Harry just shrugs, explaining that the webcasts are just a fun side hustle while fixing bikes is her real job. She then raises an eyebrow, reminding the boys about their fast-approaching tournament. Shouldn't they be out there sweating and training like crazy right now? Minu just laughs it off, asking if hardcore workouts are even necessary, when they literally have the ace Jay carrying the team. Just then, June storms into the shop, bluntly warning them that if they don't start taking this seriously, they are going to get completely crushed in the very first preliminary round. Minu blinks in surprise, asking if the bookworm actually hangs around this shop often. June nods, casually mentioning that he drops by all the time for regular tune-ups or whenever he needs a fresh set of tires. Minu sarcastically asks if the guy has completely given up on studying for his big exams. If he keeps this up, he is definitely going to have to repeat a year. June violently blushes, snapping at him to shut his mouth, insisting his grades are perfectly fine. Eager to change the subject, June whips out his phone and shoves it in their faces, telling them they need to see this. He hits play on that insane clip of Monster blasting past 102 kilometers per hour. Minu's eyes go wide, muttering that this absolute unit is a total monster. He honestly cannot fathom how a human being could ever pedal that incredibly fast. Even the normally chill Jay and the tough guy Dom look visibly freaked out by the footage. Harry leans over calmly, pointing out that the guy is pushing a brutal 5-point gear ratio. Plus, that massive car in front of him is acting like a perfect windshield. With conditions like that, a truly elite cyclist can smash through the 100 km/h barrier without breaking a sweat. Heck, she even mentions that the ultimate Guinness World Record is supposedly well over 200 km/h. Minu shakes his head, completely amazed that human potential apparently has zero limits. He looks back at June, urgently asking who this speed demon actually is. June swallows hard, revealing that the guy goes by the terrifying nickname Monster 13. Back in high school, he was actually a massively famous American football star. But tragedy struck during a game when he blew out his knee, permanently ruining his ability to sprint on the field. Forced to completely abandon his gridiron dreams, he desperately turned to cycling just as a way to rehab his shattered knee. He channeled all that crushing frustration and burning desire to run, pouring every single ounce of it straight into the pedals. That intense passion rebirthed him into an absolute biking juggernaut. Now he has assembled the formidable Monster crew and is officially entering the upcoming tournament. Honestly, this guy is heavily favored to take the entire championship crown. He is a relentless powerhouse who casually dominates a 5-point gear ratio. Do our boys honestly believe they even stand a ghost of a chance against a titan like him? Minu groans in total defeat, admitting they are basically screwed if that freak of nature is joining the race. Dom starts visibly panicking, crying out that he literally just bought his first real bike. Seeing their despair, Harry jumps in, calmly asking if any of them know how to ride on rollers. Minu tilts his head in confusion, asking what the heck a roller even is. Dom completely mishears her, dumbly asking if she just said the name Lola. Harry just rolls her eyes with a heavy sigh, waving the clueless boys to She leads the crew straight into the hidden back room of the shop. Dom looks around, totally lost, asking what this weird space is for. She proudly explains that this is the secret training zone for VIP members. Pointing to the massive roller drums, she explains they are the absolute best tool for mastering intense pedaling and precision steering. Minu looks around in awe, admitting he has never seen a hardcore setup quite like this before. Harry confidently tells them that if they grind on these drums, their steering control will skyrocket. It is the perfect spot for them to lock in their ideal riding posture. Hyped up, Dom aggressively tosses his bag aside, declaring he is up first. He cautiously mounts the bike over the slippery drums, sweating nervously. But the second he actually starts pushing the pedals, something feels horribly, completely wrong. He desperately fights the handlebars, totally confused as to why he cannot steer straight to save his life. Suddenly, he violently smashes right into the heavy metal sidebar, cursing out loud. He pants, wondering why this stupid contraption is so incredibly difficult to balance on. The entire bike violently wobbles back and forth out of control. Harry quickly diagnoses the problem, explaining that he is locking up and putting way too much raw power into his tense wrists and shoulders. To survive the rollers, he absolutely has to keep his upper body totally relaxed. Dom grunts in frustration, complaining that it is a million times harder than it looks. But right next to him, Jay is flawlessly gliding on the rollers like an absolute professional. Dom's jaw drops, demanding to know how on earth Jay is already this insanely good. Jay doesn't even break a sweat, casually replying that he used to practice on these things all the time with his uncle. Minu playfully whines, complaining that it is just so unfair how Jay is literally perfect at everything he touches. June smirks, proudly stating that is exactly why the guy is their undisputed ace. Harry silently watches Jay in awe, noting his incredibly stable core and fluid pedaling rhythm. Making those intense muscle movements look that natural requires a terrifying amount of practice. It is ridiculously obvious that the blood of his legendary Uncle Mahone flows right through his veins. That raw, natural biking instinct is basically woven into his DNA. Checking her watch, Harry excuses herself to help a waiting customer, tossing a final tip to the boys to grind on those rollers every single chance they get. Once they actually master this brutal indoor training, taking it to the open streets will be a total breeze. The crew warmly thanks her for the awesome hookup. Defeated Dom plops down on the floor, groaning about how this training is way more brutal than he ever imagined. Minu wipes his forehead, complaining about being completely drenched in sweat already. Meanwhile, our absolute legend Jay is literally reading a book while effortlessly gliding on the rollers. It is just a casual walk in the park for him. From the back, Dom whines about having a massive mountain of skills to learn. After all, his ultimate master plan was to aggressively roll up to school tomorrow on his shiny new bike, just to totally impress Yuna. Minu raises an eyebrow, genuinely confused about what Dom sees in that quote-unquote ugly cow. Dom instantly snaps back, fiercely defending Yuna. To him, she isn't some ugly cow. She is drop-dead gorgeous. Minu just rolls his eyes with a sarcastic, "Yeah, right." Minu mutters under his breath, wondering why only total weirdos seem to fall for his sister. As a guy himself, he just cannot wrap his head around it. Wait, Sister Dom totally freezes. Did Minu just say he is Yuna's brother? Minu nods casually. Yep, they are fraternal twins. Hearing this, Dom's entire universe flips upside down. Staring hard, he realizes they actually do share some facial features. Minu stares back, totally baffled. Wait, did you seriously have no clue this whole time? Suddenly, Dom shoots straight up from his seat. Minu jumps back, wondering what has gotten into him. In a flash, Dom drops into a deep, respectful bow right in front of Minu, loudly calling him his brother. Minu just sighs, wondering what this massive idiot is up to now. Even Jay and June pause to stare at Dom's bizarre little spectacle. Meanwhile, the scene shifts over to Mia's place. Fresh out of a relaxing shower, she steps into her room feeling totally refreshed. Her eyes land softly on her mini bike resting in the corner. Staring at it, she silently crosses her fingers, really hoping she will be able to ride it perfectly tomorrow. Fast forward to the next day at a sunny, bustling park. Some random guy nervously asks to hold a girl's hand, but she brutally tells him to screw off. Meanwhile, Mia and Shelly just chill on a nearby bench, patiently waiting for Jay to show up. Sneaking up from behind, Dom surprises them with a round of ice cream, offering the girls first pick. Shelly grabs a classic plain flavor, while Mia happily claims the strawberry one. Without a second thought, Shelly rips off the lid of her cup and instantly tosses it in the trash. Dom gasps in pure horror. Why on earth is she throwing the lid away without licking it first? Does she have zero basic etiquette for eating ice cream? Shelly just gives him a deadpan stare. Why the heck would I even lick it? Determined to educate her, Dom gives a very serious hands-on demonstration, happily licking his own lid. You always lick it before eating, he insists. Shelly immediately cringes, calling him an absolute weirdo. Dom instantly deflates, looking completely heartbroken as he mutters, but literally everyone eats it like this. Feeling bad for the big guy, Mia gently pats his arm, comforting him by saying she eats her ice cream the exact same way. Just then, Yuna strolls into the park, pointing out that the whole gang seems to be gathered here. Right on cue, Minu and Jay finally roll up on their bikes. Minu smugly pats Yuna on the head, sarcastically calling her a proper lady. Instantly annoyed, Yuna shoots him a deadly glare, asking if he wants a beat. Morning rolls around and Minu totally ghosts her, opting to greet the rest of the crew instead. Meanwhile, Shelly is already calling Jay her darling, while Mia offers a shy hello. Out of nowhere, Dom drops into a deep bow, addressing Minu like a mob boss. Shelly and Mia just stare, wondering what on earth has gotten into this guy. Dom turns to Yuna, hyping up the sick biking skills he spent all night perfecting. Yuna just rolls her eyes and tells him to drop the tough guy act. He strikes a ridiculous victory pose, leaving her questioning what kind of absolute nonsense he was actually practicing. But in Dom's mind, this is his golden chance to impress her and score some serious brownie points. He hammers the pedals, fully embracing his main character moment. With a loud, ear-piercing screech of his tires, Dom announces that this is a long skid. It's a move where you use pure leg strength to lock the back wheel, dragging the bike forward using nothing but body weight, and a perfectly shifted center of gravity. But things take a dark turn. Bam! Dom's crotch violently slams right into the handlebars, sending a shockwave of pure agony through his body. He completely wipes out, hitting the concrete and wobbling around in absolute misery. Yuna lets out a massive sigh, totally unamused, and thanks him for the free comedy sketch. She gives him a patronizing pat, joking that he didn't have to literally destroy himself just to make her laugh. Over at the practice spot, Mia straps on her helmet nervously, asking if her seat is too high. Jay calmly explains that it's actually the perfect height for her legs, noting that a low seat just makes pedaling a nightmare. She awkwardly hops onto the bike, silently praying she gets the hang of this soon. Looking back, she begs Jay to keep a tight grip on her bike. Jay assures her he's got her back, telling her to relax and just go for it. Watching from the sidelines, Minu starts getting salty, feeling like Jay is completely hogging all the girls. He shoots his shot with Shelly, asking if they should pair up too. Shelly shuts him down instantly, bluntly telling him to screw off because she is absolutely not in the mood. Trembling a bit, Mia double-checks if Jay is still holding on. He promises he is urging her to just start pedaling. He softly suggests dropping the tension in her shoulders and just relaxing. But the moment Mia tries to loosen up, her center of gravity shifts and she immediately loses her balance. Before she can hit the ground, Jay instantly grabs the handlebars, saving her from a nasty fall. He points out that she's stiff as a board. Mia's face flushes bright red and she shyly promises to try again. Shelley watches this intimate coaching session and her jealousy flares up. Unable to take it anymore, she angrily stomps right over to them. She gets right in Mia's face, snapping at her to stop heavily flirting with her man. Meanwhile, Minu catches a glimpse of Jay and a wave of nostalgia hits him. It brings back memories of when he used to push his own little sister around on a bike, just like Jay is doing. Young Minu would tease her, reminding her that their dad definitely didn't buy the bike for her. But little Yuna was sharp, firing back that dad only bought it on the condition that he took care of them. Defeated tiny Minu would just sigh and agree. As they cruised along, a young Jay suddenly zoomed past them on his own bike. Wide-eyed Minu's sister marveled at his insane speed and excitedly begged to chase after him. Fired up, little Minu told her to hold on for dear life as he cranked the pedals. They took off like a rocket, leaving a whining little Yuna yelling at them to wait up. Snapping back to reality, Minu lets out a soft sigh, cherishing those golden childhood memories. Suddenly, Shelley interrupts, asking Jay if he can teach her how to ride too. Jay looks totally confused, asking if she doesn't already know how to ride perfectly well. Mia immediately jumps to the defense, firing back that Shelley is the one who needs to stop flirting. Shelley aggressively asks if Mia is actually here to cycle, or just find excuses to feel Jay up. Mia holds her ground, insisting that Jay promised to teach her first. Caught directly in the crossfire of this vicious girl drama, Jay looks completely dead inside. Minu swoops in, patting Jay's shoulder and suggesting a swap. He offers to take over Mia's lessons so Jay can take a breather with Shelley. Jay breathes a massive sigh of relief and quickly agrees. Shelley instantly claims her prize playfully, sliding her glasses onto Jay's face and teasing that he looks pretty handsome in them. She then snatches his iconic glasses, slipping them on and asking how she looks. But the moment she opens her eyes, she's shocked at how terrible his vision actually is. The thick lenses make her instantly dizzy. Jay demands them back, but Shelley stubbornly refuses, playfully dodging his hands. Watching them goof around, a bitter wave of jealousy washes over Mia. Minu notices her sour mood and playfully asks if she's already sick of her new riding partner. Flustered Mia quickly denies it. Right then, Yuna creeps up behind Minu, suspiciously asking why he's the one teaching Mia instead of Jay. Minu casually explains that Jay was running out of steam, so they pulled a quick switch. Yuna narrows her eyes, warning him not to try any funny business with her friend. Suddenly, Dom slaps Minu on the back, loudly addressing him as his boss. He smoothly offers to distract Yuna so Minu can have some private time. Minu cringes hard, begging Dom to stop calling him that because it sounds incredibly creepy. Unfazed, Dom insists that they need to make themselves scarce so Minu can properly vibe with Mia. Yuna scowls, calling Dom a total weirdo, and demands to know why he keeps acting like Minu is a mafia don. Dom proudly declares it's because Minu is his future brother-in-law. Hearing this, Yuna absolutely snaps, grabbing Dom right by the throat. She glares daggers at him, threatening him with another brutal beatdown. A little while later, Minu is back to helping Mia. Frustrated to the point of tears, Mia complains that she just wasn't born with the talent to ride a bike. But Minu drops some wisdom, telling her that talent has nothing to do with it. The real reason she isn't moving forward is simply because she's terrified of hitting the pavement. Mia lets out a heavy sigh, sadly admitting that he's completely right. Minu looks her in the eye, saying she's letting fear control her. He warns her that if she stays locked in this fear, she'll never make any real progress. Those words hit deep. Mia's mind instantly flashes back to all the miserable bullying she endured back in middle school, all because she was too paralyzed by fear to fight back. Seeing her tense up, Minu gently pats her shoulder. He tells her she just needs to own it and ride with absolute confidence. He reminds her that everything is terrifying on the first try, but once that initial panic fades, it becomes second nature. Fired up by his words, Mia wipes her eyes and declares she's going all in, leaving her fear in the dust. Minu matches her energy, hyping her up for another attempt. He guides her back into the starting stance, asking if she's truly ready, and she confidently nods. Minu gives one last crucial tip: keep your eyes up, never look down, and just keep pedaling like you own the road. Mia hits the pedals, finally catching her balance. Minu cheers her on, shouting that she's officially got the magic touch. Panicking slightly, Mia asks if he's still holding the seat, but he's standing 10 feet back, clapping and praising her amazing progress. Watching from afar, a warm smile spreads across Yuna's face as her best friend finally conquers her fear. Dom is totally blown away that she pulled it off all on her own. Shelley brushes it off, asking why everyone's hyping up a simple bike ride. But our boy Jay, he keeps his mouth shut, just throwing serious side-eye. Mia is on cloud 9, cruising on her bike until the sun starts setting and she finally hits the brakes. The whole crew hypes Mia up for nailing it. Minu and Mia share a sweet, happy moment, but Jay is just locking onto them with that intense, piercing stare of his. He flatly announces that it's getting dark, and he's out of here. Minu blinks, asking if he's seriously dipping this early. Jay mutters that he needs to hit the books, and Minu decides to bounce with him. Dom tries to keep the party going, but Yuna sighs, pointing out the vibe is dead since everyone's bailing. She suggests they call it a night too. Mia smiles, saying today was an absolute blast, while Yuna turns to Dom, crossing her arms. She asks why he's still loitering around. Dom smoothly offers to walk her home, but Yuna instantly rejects him, saying she's just gonna grab a cab. Not backing down, Dom insists on at least walking her to the taxi stand. As he's trailing behind her like a lost puppy, he mentions he's super thirsty. He begs Yuna to watch his wheels for just a sec so he can grab a drink from the convenience store. Tossing her the bike, he promises to buy her something too. Yuna just rolls her eyes, wondering why this idiot won't leave her alone. Meanwhile, a group of sketchy guys are loitering nearby. They're talking about grabbing some snacks when one of them spots Yuna waiting with the bike. He licks his lips, muttering that she's totally his type. His buddy nudges him, asking if he's actually going to shoot his shot. The creep flashes a sleazy smirk and tells his crew to watch the master at work. Yuna taps her foot, getting completely drained, waiting for Dom's slow behind. Suddenly, the creep slides up to her smoothly, asking for her digits. Without even looking up from her phone, Yuna coldly tells him to get lost. The guy doesn't take the hint, pressing on, whining that she could at least add his social media and drop her info. Pushed to the edge, Yuna snaps, cursing him out. She demands to know what his damage is and tells him to back the hell off. The guy's ego shatters instantly, his tone turning totally sour. His friend in the back is snapping photos, laughing at him getting ruthlessly rejected, while another guy groans that his temper is flaring up again. The creep steps closer, aggressively daring her to say that to his face again. He barks, "Do I look like a joke to you? You think you're all that?" He's fully raging now, spitting insults until out of nowhere Dom flies in and absolutely clocks the guy right in the jaw. The creep drops like a sack of bricks. One punch. Lights out. His buddies are left completely frozen, jaws on the floor. Dom yanks off his hat, glaring daggers as he growls. "Who the hell are you, trashes?" Yuna starts shaking, terrified of the sudden violence. Dom roars again, demanding answers. One of the thugs drops his backpack, trying to act tough as he asks who Dom thinks he is. Big mistake. Dom lunges, driving a brutal jab straight into the thug's ribs. The guy completely caves in one hit, and Dom ruthlessly yanks him up by the hair, winding up for another devastating blow. Dom snarls that they can call him a psycho all they want, but right then, Yuna desperately screams at him to stop. Dom is totally blinded by rage, dead set on destroying these punks. He locks eyes with the first creep, the one who harassed Yuna, staring him down with sheer murder in his eyes. The guy is practically wetting himself. Yuna pleads with Dom to just drop it, but Dom is way past listening. He delivers a brutal knockout blow. Nothing is saving these guys from his wrath today, not even Yuna's tears. Dom leaves 3 thugs battered and completely out cold. The last standing goon is trembling, wondering what kind of monster they just messed with. He drops his gear and sprints for his life. He's totally mind-blown that his entire crew just got wiped out by a single dude. Cut to the aftermath. Dom is quietly walking next to Yuna. Out of nowhere, Yuna freezes coldly, stating she's grabbing a cab from here. Dom is completely thrown off, asking what her deal is all of a sudden. He asks if she's mad because he threw down back there. Yuna's voice shakes as she admits she never wanted to see him violently beat someone up again. Dom scoffs, asking if he was supposed to just stand there like a coward while they talk trash to her. Yuna snaps back that he didn't have to go totally savage on them. Dom looks hurt, asking if she thinks he was just throwing hands for fun. Did she really expect him to just watch while those creeps treated her like garbage? Yuna just looks away, completely silent. Frustrated, Dom bites back, saying whatever, she's just a sheltered little princess who doesn't get it. She probably looks at him like he's just another street thug, exactly like the guys he beat up. Dom turns his back gruffly, telling her to get home safe before walking away. Meanwhile, the goon who ran for his life is frantically making a phone call. He spills everything to Sung in a total panic. Sung listens quietly with Vinny chilling right next to him. Hanging up, Sung smirks and announces that a bunch of guys from their turf just got absolutely wrecked by one random kid. Vinny takes a long drag from his cigarette, then calmly crushes the butt into the pavement. Back at the scene, one of the beaten thugs is groaning, whining that his teeth feel completely shattered. Another guy spits blood, swearing he'll murder Dom next time they cross paths. But their buddy who ran away snaps, asking how they managed to get totally clapped by just one dude. The bruised guy tells him to shut his mouth since he tucked his tail and ran like a total wimp. Grabbing the coward by the collar, he fumes, asking why the hell he dragged Vinny and Sung into this. Does he want the whole school knowing they got totally manhandled by a lone punk? Suddenly, Vinny appears out of nowhere, viciously kicking the guy off his friend. Sprawled on the dirt, the thug stammers, realizing who just arrived. Vinny glares down, demanding to know where the guy who did this went. The battered guy whimpers that the dude vanished while they were knocked out. Vinny looks disgusted, calling them absolute trash, and tells them to stop claiming they go to the same school. They're a complete embarrassment. Sung steps up, asking for a description of the guy who just humiliated three of their own. One of the bloody kids mumbles that the guy was rocking long hair and had a band-aid right across his nose. The creepy guy nods, suddenly remembering something. He pulls out his phone, saying he snapped a picture of the girl the guy was with and holds the screen up for them to see. He squints at the screen, complaining about the trashy quality. Sung just rolls his eyes. How the hell are we supposed to track him down with just this chick's photo? The dude in the background of the pic gets totally defensive. Hey man, why'd you take that? Delete it right now. The photographer just shrugs it off. Chill bro, it was just a joke. But Vinny zeroes in on something else. The bike leaning next to her. He turns on his heel. Send me that picture, he orders, Sung already pulling out his phone and dialing. Cut to TJ sweating it out on the indoor rollers. His phone starts buzzing and he immediately scowls. There is nothing he hates more than getting interrupted mid-workout. He snaps a breathless, "Yeah, hello." A voice on the other end sneers, "Mamushi boy." TJ freezes. "Who the hell is this?" Vinny just smirks through the phone. "It's me." "Don't tell me you forgot my voice already." TJ stammers out a quick apology, biting his tongue before he accidentally calls Vinny an absolute psycho. Vinny cuts to the chase. "I just shot you a photo." "Open it up." He pauses. "Take a good look." "Anyone in your crew ride that specific bike?" TJ squints at his screen. "Nah, man. Never seen that track bike in our crew before." He wipes the sweat off his forehead. "Why? What's the deal with it?" Vinny lays out the details. "I'm hunting down some guy. Long hair, rocks a band-aid right under his nose. Figured he might be one of your guys." TJ pauses. Long hair, a band-aid. That rings a massive bell. Wait a second. Is he talking about that dude who hangs out with the Sunny High student president? TJ spills the beans, tossing Vinny the intel. On the other end, Vinny gets a wicked grin. So the little punk goes to Sunny High. Perfect. The moment he hangs up, TJ collapses onto his couch. A slow smirk creeps across his face before turning into full-blown maniacal laughter. He has zero clue what the drama is about. But knowing that Sunny High brat is about to cross paths with a complete psycho like Vinny, that is music to his ears. Talk about catching two birds with one stone. Back at school, Dom is completely zoned out, furiously tapping away at a mobile game. Minu strolls up, leaning over his shoulder. "Yo, what you doing? Want to hit the rollers and get some bike practice in after class?" Dom doesn't even look up from his screen. "My bad, bro. I gotta work a shift tonight. I'll just squeeze in some solo practice when things slow down at the shop." Suddenly, Jay glances back at them with a deadpan stare. "You guys are such losers. Seriously, quit hanging out in my classroom." Minu scoffs, waving a hand. Newsflash, man. This isn't your personal classroom. We literally go to the same school. Why don't you ever come visit our class for a change?" Jay just raises an eyebrow. "Why the hell would I do that?" Nearby, a group of girls are totally eating this up, whispering about the two boyfriends bickering again. "Right, those rumors have to be true," one of them giggles. Out of nowhere, Shelly slides right up next to Jay, practically shoving her phone in his face. "Say cheese," she chirps. Click. She admires the screen with a massive grin. "Aw, you look so handsome in this one." Jay leans back, totally annoyed. "What are you even doing?" Shelly beams at him. "Just sending it to my girls back in England. They didn't believe me, so I had to give them some visual proof." Jay panics. "Do not hit send." But it's way too late. Shelly already uploaded the selfie straight to Facebook, captioning it, "Drop a like for my gorgeous boyfriend." "Oops, my bad, already posted," she teases. Jay looks like he is ready to explode. Meanwhile, the guy sitting next to him is silently dying of jealousy, thinking, "Man, I would gladly take 100 photos with her." Just then, Yuna and Mia stroll into the room. "Hey, you want to catch a movie later?" Mia asks. But Yuna's eyes instantly lock onto Dom across the room. Dom freezes, locking eyes right back. The tension is super thick. Yuna quickly ducks her head and walks right past him without a word. Mia blinks. You good?" Dom immediately rubs the back of his neck, faking a yawn. "Man, I am exhausted. I'm gonna crash right now." He slams his head onto the desk. Minnie watches the whole thing unfold, his eyes darting between the two. Something is definitely off. They are acting totally bizarre. Over on the girls' side, Mia nudges Yuna. "Spill it. Did something happen between you and Dom?" Yuna looks away. "Why? What does it look like?" Mia crosses her arms. "It looks like you two got into a massive fight." Yuna sighs, shaking her head. "It's nothing like that. We aren't even close enough to have a real fight anyway." Cut to later that evening as the sun goes down. Dom walks out to grab his bike, giving his dog Jordan a good head scratch. Good boy, way to guard the ride. He unclips the lock. Looks like I'm ditching night class today. Let's just head home early, buddy. But the second the leash is off, Jordan completely loses his mind and bolts down the street like a total maniac. Hey Jordan, get back here, Dom screams, pedaling frantically to catch up with his runaway dog. Fast forward a bit and Dom is finally cruising down the street with Jordan strapped securely to his back. Don't you ever pull a stunt like that again, you hear me? He scolds the pup. Random people on the sidewalk just stare as they pass by, wondering if this kid is some weird hardcore dog trainer. Meanwhile, outside the school gates, students are chatting about buying bikes and waving their goodbyes. But lurking in the shadows, the very same gang of guys that Dom absolutely trashed the other day. They are straight up staking out the campus, getting impatient. Where the hell is this guy? One of them mutters. Suddenly one of the thugs spots a familiar face walking out. It's the girl who was hanging out with Dom yesterday. A nasty grin spreads across his face. Bingo. Found her. Oblivious to the danger, Mia is busy asking Yuna, is it just me, or was Dom acting super sketchy today? I mean, he straight up skipped night class. Yuna just shrugs, still brushing it off. I told you literally nothing happened between us. Besides, it's definitely not the first time he's ditched school. Mia sighs. Well, I just hope he's doing all right. Suddenly, a massive shadow falls over them as the thugs block their path. Hey ladies, one of them sneers. Remember us? Another guy steps up, glaring at Yuna. Where's that little punk you were with yesterday? Mia instantly shrinks back behind Yuna, terrified. Yuna, who the hell are these guys? Cut over to Dom at the bike shop, totally focused on balancing his cycle in place. His co-workers are hyping him up loudly, counting out the seconds. Dom is visibly sweating, fighting to keep the bike steady. Keep pushing, you're hitting a new record, his co-worker shouts. Finally, Dom's foot hits the floor, panting. Bro, you just held that for a solid 7 seconds, they cheer. Dom wipes his brow. Man, keeping this thing balanced is no joke. His buddy laughs. Hey, for a beginner, you're pretty athletic. But the celebration is cut short when Dom's phone suddenly starts vibrating in his pocket. He frowns, wondering who would be blowing up his phone this late. He hits accept. Yeah, hello, the voice on the other end is frantic. It's Mia. Dom is totally confused. Why is she calling him? But then he hears the absolute terror in her voice. She's sobbing hysterically, begging him for help. Dom, please, they just dragged Yuna away. In a split second, Dom's confusion morphs into pure boiling rage. His coworker taps him on the shoulder. Hey man, shift's starting, time to get to work, but Dom is already on the pedals, exploding out of the shop with terrifying speed. Whoa, dude, where the hell are you going? His coworker yells after him. The camera cuts away, focusing on a dark, isolated alleyway, exactly where the gang is dragging Yuna and Mia. Gripping her tight, the punk demands to know where her boyfriend is hiding, warning her to shut her mouth and stop talking trash. Yuna is not backing down. She shoots back, asking what his deal is. They started this whole mess, so they better back off before she gets the cops involved. The guy just laughs in her face. Sure, she could dial 911 right now, but tomorrow is going to be a living nightmare for her. That is when Mia jumps into the mix, screaming at them to knock it off. She quickly whispers to Yuna that she already tipped off Dom about the whole situation. Out of nowhere, Vinny crashes the scene, aggressively shoving his way right past the other gang members. Meanwhile, Dom's crew is deadlocked in heavy traffic. His right-hand man is blowing his mind over how insanely fast their boss is on a bike. At this pace, they are definitely going to lose him. Another crew member radios in to the rest of the boys, saying Dom got a frantic phone call, before zooming straight toward the high school. Cut to Dom. He is pedaling his bike like a total maniac, blowing right through every single red light. His mind flashes back to the very first time he met Yuna. Some low-life scumbag was cornering her, trying to drag her away against her will. That is when Dom made his grand entrance. Even with a busted leg and a cast, he was dripping with absolute confidence. He casually dropped a warning that his old man would not be thrilled to see this kind of garbage going down on his turf. Instantly terrified, the thug bowed low, apologizing profusely. Fast forward a bit. Dom is chilling at school, completely zoned out, playing video games by himself. Whispers echo through the hallway as guys gossip about the scary new kid. Word on the street is that his family has some heavy underworld ties, and everyone agrees it is best to steer clear of him. But Yuna, she walks right up to his desk bluntly, asking if he is the same kid with the fake mustache from the nightclub the night before. Dom just shrugs, confirming it is him, and casually asks if they share the same homeroom. Yuna immediately starts laying into him for bleaching his hair and showing up out of uniform. She honestly thought he was some older college guy back at the club. Annoyed, Dom asks if she suddenly thinks she is his mom, nagging him over every little detail. Rolling his eyes, he stands up and tells her to step outside for a second. He drags her out into the empty hallway. demanding that she keep her mouth shut about what went down earlier. Confused, Yuna asks what exactly he is talking about. Dom clarifies. The whole wearing a mustache and working at a sketchy club thing. Yuna scoffs, telling him she has absolutely zero interest in spreading his stupid drama around school. She shoots back that if he is so paranoid about getting caught, maybe he should just start acting like a normal teenager. With that, she turns on her heel and tells him to stop bothering her with his pointless secrets. Watching her walk away, Dom smirks, thinking this girl has one hell of an attitude. Later that day, as he heads outside, he kicks himself for not just ignoring her in class. He groans, wondering why, out of all places, he had to end up at the exact same school as her. Suddenly, a pack of arrogant seniors blocks his path, and locking eyes with him. The leader scowls, asking out loud who this piece of trash even is. He sneers, calling Dom a cocky freshman, and demands to know why he is disrespectfully eyeballing upperclassmen. Dom deadpans that he was literally just looking straight ahead. Furious, the senior barks out, asking if this punk is trying to act tough in front of his crew. He screams at Dom to avert his eyes immediately, but he does not flinch, holding the intense stare, until the older kid actually starts sweating nervously. Overcompensating, the senior shoves Dom hard, yelling at him to look away. The pack jumps in, landing a swift kick, muttering about, since when their school started letting in freaks like him. The leader spits on the ground in disgust, warning him one last time to drop his gaze. Turning to his buddies, he complains about how kids these days have zero respect. Silent but deadly, Dom slowly grips his crutches and pulls himself back up to his feet. The senior glances back, and sheer terror washes over his face. Eyes burning with rage, Dom growls that he did not hold back a whole academic year just to get pushed around by pathetic losers. A few moments later, Yuna and Mia walk out the doors, only to freeze in absolute shock at the gruesome scene. Dom has completely decimated the bullies, his school uniform and crutches, now splattered with their blood. Cut to the vice principal's office, where the man is fiercely chewing Dom out for brutally assaulting the upperclassmen. He calls the whole violent display completely unacceptable. Panicking, he barks orders at the nosy teachers to get back to their classrooms and keep the students in line. They need to bury this scandal before word gets out to the public. Sweating, he nervously adjusts his tie, cursing his luck that this disaster dropped while the principal is away on business. He glares at Dom, asking if his guardians are on their way. The man spits out that a delinquent like him has no business being enrolled here. Right on cue, a heavy knock echoes through the room and he commands whoever it is to enter. The trembling receptionist announces that Dom's father has arrived. The vice principal smugly orders her to show him inside, but the poor woman visibly hesitates. Suddenly, Dom's father kicks the door wide open, marching in flanked by a massive entourage of terrifying mobsters. Looking around, he casually remarks that his boy attends a pretty nice joint, before demanding to know what his kid did this time. He glares down at the staff, growling about how slammed he is at work. Did they really need to drag an old man all the way out here for high school drama? The arrogant vice principal immediately turns pale, sweating bullets as he completely forgets how to speak. Fast forward, Dom is strolling down the hall like he owns the place while students whisper frantically about how he survived expulsion. Rumor has it that he was dead to rights until his terrifying mob boss dad paid a visit, instantly securing his spot back in class. They are convinced this kid is absolutely untouchable. Dom kicks open the classroom door, irritated that these spineless kids just will not stop gossiping behind his back. Honestly, he thinks getting expelled would have been way less annoying. Exhausted, he crashes onto a desk to catch some sleep. He is completely knocked out, snoring quietly in the shade, until a loud voice screams at him to wake the hell up. Dom violently jolts awake, glaring around and demanding to know who is ruining his nap. Out of breath, Yuna leans against the doorway, complaining that she has been sprinting all over campus trying to track him down. Annoyed, Dom asks why on earth she cares where he is. Yuna rolls her eyes, explaining that their homeroom teacher wants a word with him and she was the unlucky one sent to go fetch him. Dom scoffs, saying he will head down whenever he damn well feels like it. His headache is way too massive to deal with another lecture. Completely unbothered, Yuna suddenly plops down right next to him. He narrows his eyes, wondering what kind of crazy trick she is plotting now. Yuna sighs, looking at him with mock pity. She says she actually feels bad for him, bleached hair, working in a sleazy club, and putting upperclassmen in the hospital. Like, seriously, can't he just be a normal student for once? Dom groans, telling her to quit nagging because it's getting on his nerves. But Yuna just looks up at him, asking straight up what his game plan is after graduation. Caught off guard, Dom asks why she's suddenly dropping heavy questions on him out of nowhere. She points out that everyone's got a dream, so she's genuinely curious about his. Pushing himself up, Dom simply mutters music. Yuna raises an eyebrow, asking what exactly that's supposed to mean. Is he trying to write tracks, be a producer, or grab the mic himself? Dom just shrugs, admitting he hasn't figured out the details yet. He just knows he wants to make beats. Yuna points out that's a pretty vague goal. Dom explains that listening to music is the only thing that chills him out, so he figured why not create some dope tracks of his own. She immediately suggests he hit up a university and major in music, brushing her off with a classic whatever. Dom casually pulls out a smoke. But before he can even light it, Yuna snatches the cigarette and absolutely shreds it to pieces. She lays into him, scolding him for messing around with that trash. She tells him he needs to lock down his high school diploma first, or the world is just going to look down on him. Feeling the heat, Dom flips the script, asking Yuna what her big life plans are. Yuna's expression softens as she admits she doesn't really know anymore. She used to hustle hard for her little brother, but lately she's completely lost her long-term drive. Dom blinks in surprise, asking if she actually has a brother. But Yuna just goes completely silent. Suddenly, springing to her feet, she brushes it off, saying she's just wasting time chatting. She tells Dom to drop the edgy act and finally go see his teacher. Dom fires back that she was literally the one who started the deep talk, giving a small smile. Yuna admits that having a dream is a good look on him. She genuinely hopes he makes that music dream a reality. But for now, he better march down to the faculty office or she's snitching about his little rooftop smoking stunt. Dom's heart literally skips a beat hearing Yuna actually root for him. He stands there totally stunned, realizing no one in his entire life has ever backed him up like this before. Fast forward a bit, and both of them get stuck with classroom cleaning duty. The other students are totally losing their minds, whispering about what on earth happened to the school's bad boy. Not only did he dye his hair, but his whole vibe did a complete 180. Our boy Dom is out here fiercely scrubbing the classroom, and get this, he's doing it while still rocking his crutches. He suddenly spots a kid violently rubbing an eraser across his desk. Dom limps over, looming over the guy, and asks if he really needs to erase that aggressively. Like, hello, can't he see someone is trying to sweep here? When the terrified kid freezes, Dom demands to know why he's giving him the silent treatment. If those eraser shavings hit my clean floor, are you gonna pick him up? The poor kid looks like he's about to pass out from fear, but then out of nowhere, Dom whips out a correction tape. He totally catches the kid off guard, suggesting he use the whiteout to make his life easier. Crisis averted. Right after that, Dom spots Yuna struggling to wipe down the tall windows. Stepping in, he grabs her hand and boldly claims that a man should handle the heavy lifting. Yuna yanks her hand back, asking why he's acting so weird and cringy today. Moments later, absolute chaos breaks out as teachers and students rush to the window. The teacher is screaming her lungs out, begging the absolute lunatic to get down before he plummets to his doom. The students are staring in pure shock, asking if he's completely lost his mind. Yep, Dom took window duty to the extreme. He's literally dangling off the side of the building by a rope, wiping the glass like a pro. The panicked teacher orders him back inside, screaming at him for risking his actual life over some dusty glass. But Dom just zones out, the haters feeling the breeze, and thinking that breaking a little sweat actually feels pretty amazing. Watching this circus, Yuna facepalms hard, realizing she created this monster. Later on their walk home, she shakes her head, admitting she has never met anyone as completely unhinged as him. Dom just smiles, feeling totally wiped out but super satisfied after a hard day of actually trying at school. Right on cue, his stomach lets out a massive growl. Laughing, Yuna asks if he's hungry and offers to treat him to whatever he wants as a reward for finally acting like a decent student. Dom's brain instantly short-circuits, wondering if this is her slick way of asking him out to dinner. In his head, he's already planning their romantic dinner date, snapping him back to reality. Yuna asks why he's just standing there looking goofy, and Dom quickly scrambles to catch up. He mutters a quick apology for spacing out, hyping himself up as he asks what's on the menu tonight. But suddenly, Dom accidentally bumps shoulders with a random kid. He immediately apologizes, but the punk stops him, aggressively demanding to know how he's going to pay for ruining his uniform. Dom scoffs, asking how a slight bump is his problem. Seeing the tension rise, Yuna quickly warns Dom not to start swinging, threatening to ghost him forever if he gets into another fight. Stepping up, Yuna offers to cover the dry cleaning bill and asks for the price. But the greedy bully smirks, claiming dry cleaning ain't gonna cut it, and straight up demands cash for a brand new outfit. While Yuna is ready to just take their bank details and pay up, Dom starts digging around in his bag for something. He pulls out a pristine shoebox and casually asks if these limited edition kicks would settle the tab instead of cash. The punks look at him like he's crazy, asking if this is some kind of sick joke. Popping the lid open, Dom explains he went through absolute hell, trading with some underground rapper just to get his hands on these. The bullies are instantly blinded by the drip, as Dom reveals a pair of ultra-rare mint-condition Jordans. He offers the trade again, and the stunned losers start stammering, asking if these holy grails are actually authentic. Standing on the sidelines, Yuna just stares in total confusion. She completely fails to grasp the hypebeast culture where thinking boys are just way too weird. The punks eagerly snatch the box, drooling over the massive profit they're gonna make. flipping them online. Suddenly acting all buddy-buddy, they thank Dom for the ultimate payday and tell him to watch his step next time. Seeing them walk away, Yuna gives Dom major props for handling the whole mess without throwing a single punch. Flashing a cocky smile, Dom promises he's going to graduate smoothly without catching any more heat. After all, he's got absolutely zero reason to dirty his hands anymore. Impressed, Yuna doubles down on her offer to buy him literally whatever he's craving, and Dom immediately locks in on getting some fried chicken. Meanwhile, across town, Dom's right-hand guy suddenly gets a mysterious text from him. The boss narrows his eyes, sizing the guys up to make sure they match the intel. Time to take care of business. Just as the boys round the corner, a group of sketchy men blocks their path. "Who are you?" the boy demands, sensing the sudden tension. The leader smirks. "Hand over the kicks," he warns, "and we can settle this without spilling any blood." Cut to a little later, the two losers are left dangling upside down from a tree. They bawl their eyes out, totally convinced that this is the end of the line. Snapping back to reality, a heavy wave of guilt hits Dom. He realizes he broke his promise to Yuna a long time ago. He pedals like an absolute maniac. Jay and Minu barely catch a blur as he speeds past them,